Welcome to the latest Eyes Up Mother Brown for tonight's game versus Burnley. West Ham United versus Burnley. The Hammers in great form in the last week. 4 points from the last two games, looking for something from tonight to push a little bit further away from the relegation zone. I've done it again. I must mute myself. I always forget to do that. I'm going to move straight over. I'm going to post a few links up on social media to let everyone know we're live. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pass you over to Gnome, who's going to give us the teams. Gnome, over to you, sir.
Cheers, mate. Evening all. One change for West Ham. Yarmolenko comes in to the starting lineup in place of Lanzini. And there's also a return to the bench for Haller, which means we start off as follows. Fabianski, Fredericks, Diop, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Stuchek, Rice, Bowen, Fornals, Yarmolenko and Antonio. On the bench we have Balbuena, Lanzini, Noble, Wilshere, Haller, Masuaku, Ayeti, Randolph and Johnson. For the visitors, there had been talk of Chris Wood starting for them, but he's on the bench. So they line up as follows. Pope, Bardsley, Long, Tarkovsky, Taylor, McNeil, Westwood, Brownhill, Peters, Rodriguez and Vidra.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, Gnome, for bringing us up to date. I just have a quick word before we kick off from the whole team. Good to see Isaac with DL in the chat tonight. How you doing, Isaac? Good to see you, buddy. Pinky is just joining us down there. So I'll start with DL. And Nick, tell us what you think. What are we looking for tonight, buddy?
I'd like to see us get the 3 points. I'll take a draw at this stage. Every point's valuable now. But we've got the lucky mascot. Remember the 4-0 on New Year's Day when he came with me. So what do you think the score's going to be, Zoo? 5. There we go. 5-0.
We'll take that, assuming he means West Ham, not Burnley.
You mean West Ham and not Burnley, don't you? Yeah.
Thanks, DL. Briz, good to see you, buddy. Over to you. What do you think tonight? What are we looking for?
I think this is banged on. We're going to do 3-1. I think we'll score early and then we'll get 2 in the second half. Great
stuff. Rio, in terms of performance, are we just really looking to follow what we've been doing for the last couple of games?
Yeah, we've got to build on these last 2 results. Another couple of points, 3 points in the bag tonight. I've done us a massive favour. And I almost fancy us now. Don't know why. Changed overnight.
Wonderful, wonderful. Gnome, good to see you back. Thank you for doing the teams. We're just about to get off. What do you think tonight? Are we looking for 3 points? Will 1 be enough? What about the performance?
I just want to see us carry on the improvement of the last few games. We're underway, by the way. Literally just this second kicked off. Yeah, I think 3 points shouldn't be beyond us. Let's go for it.
Great stuff. Pinky, good to see you, buddy. Just in time for kickoff. Hope you're well.
Bloody security tonight. What a pain in the arse it was. It took forever to get through it. But yeah, squeezed in the nick of time. I quite fancy us tonight, if I'm being truthful.
Yeah.
I think we can take all 3 points tonight. So interesting to see Yarmo come in, which is the manager isn't welded to particular ideas, so he's tried something a bit different. You know, I'm upgrading to a win today if I hadn't already done so.
I think we didn't get a prediction from you, did we? Obviously, because you weren't about last night. So do you want to throw one in quickly? We can go. We've only played a few seconds. It's not going to affect the game.
3-1 to the famous West Ham.
3-1 to the mighty Irons. That's what we like to hear. I think that was 4 or 5 wins that we predicted between us for today's game. So lots of positivity in the team, which is great to see. Especially after a rough time. Gnome, take us up on the game. Where are we so far, buddy?
Well, we're 1 minute and 20 seconds in. Burnley have started on the front foot. They're bringing the game to us. We're defending okay at the moment. It's a bit of a scrappy start, but Burnley. But the game's been played so far mostly in our half, but we're just bringing the ball away now. And although Yarmolenko loses the ball, so it's going to come back again. Yeah, but bit on the back foot to start off with without looking worried, if you see what I mean. It's,
Yeah, it's almost like the complete opposite to Newcastle when they barely got in our half for the opening couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, I think I'm up with you on the stream tonight, so
All right.
I might be able to celebrate a goal in real time. Rio says no.
2:03.
This would be most bizarre if I'm ahead of everyone else for change. Rio, in terms of the shape, we've seen Yarmolenko come into the team. Are you expecting anything different? I mean, have you seen much different in the opening couple of minutes?
Nothing I noticed so far, but I just expect with Yarmo in there, he's a bit more robust and he offers a bit more physical presence than Lanzini. And Lanzini, for me, was a bit anonymous on Sunday. So it's a natural kind of move. And I'm really glad about it because in his cameos so far this season, Yarmo's looked pretty sharp.
Yeah, he's definitely changed it. I mean, we saw on Sunday, didn't we? He nearly scored that lovely shot towards the end. Go on, Gnome.
First shot of the game from Souček. Antonio forced a mistake out of the Burnley defence, lost the ball temporarily, got it back, played a square ball across to Souček, who's about 25 yards out central. High, very, very high, very wide. But still, first shot of the game, such as it was.
Encouraging to see. Possibly our most informed player at the moment, Pinky. Mr. Souček in the centre of the park there. Good to see him lining up alongside Rice again, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, at the end of the day, we're looking to take him permanently, and I think he'd be a good addition to us overall. So, yeah, he brings a lot of energy in the middle of the park, gives the manager some options. If he wants to chuck him further forward late in the game to give us an aerial presence, that's always useful. I'm also delighted to see Haller on the bench tonight. He appears to have got over his mysterious injury, and or maybe it's just the check is cleared at Eintracht Frankfurt. Who knows? Who knows?
Excellent. Yeah, I think that was a bit of a surprise all round because Breeze, the noises that we're just seeing an attack here for Burnley. They're breaking down the left, looking across. He's going to come in now. It's driven into the, not really driven, sort of curled into the near post. It's come out, another cross again. And yet again, we've defended it reasonably well. Breeze, who are we looking at in that Burnley team tonight as the most likely cause of trouble to West Ham? The main man, Woods, is out tonight. He's on the bench, isn't he, I think? Yes, he is. He's on the bench, Chris Wood. Just breaking again. And it seems Burnley have mopped up nicely. Sorry, Breeze, coming back to you. Yeah, who do you see as the real, player we've got to look out for on the Claret's team tonight?
Well, I think it says about where Burnley are in the season that Woods is on the bench because he would have been my danger man. But I think as a unit, they're just such a well-drilled team. They work for each other. They fight hard for each other. And I think, we'll see a lot of counter-attacking, I think, from Burnley. And they sit deep and they defend well. So I think as a team, they are a bit blunted without Woods there. But, they do work hard for each other.
Yes, had a really good season, didn't they? Top 10. I guess for a club of Burnley stature would be a welcome result. One of those that you would have taken at the start of the season. DL, it's pretty even exchange in the opening 5 minutes. Not a lot to sort of look at. Have you picked up on anything yet tactically that we're doing or Burnley are doing that might perhaps cause a problem for the opposition later on?
Not really, to be brutally honest. It's a bit ordinary, a bit nervy, I think. But give it time. Certainly not Newcastle standards. I'm on 5 minutes 10, so I don't know how ahead or behind I am compared to you guys. I'm watching it on
5:45 now.
Yes, about 25 seconds behind. Nobody's done anything decent. Nobody's done anything wrong at the moment. Bit ordinary. Hopefully it picks up a bit. We've got some entertainment.
Yeah, rather.
Antonio, I've just seen gone behind off his left foot, but. That's about it, really.
Yes, very quiet opening so far, but that's okay. That's not such a bad thing. West Ham just holding their own at the moment there, and as we were saying, we seem to be roughly up with each other on the stream, so we might get a collective groan or a collective cheer when a goal goes in at depending on what end that is. Rio, 4 points from West Ham in the last week. I guess as we were saying on the Mod Pod last night, a point here tonight wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, would it?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, we know that Sean Dyche's side is going to be well drilled. They're going to work hard. They're going to make it difficult for us. I said last night, I think we're 5 points from safety. So a point here It's a step in the right direction and well within our reach tonight.
Yeah, there was
Just
a post.
if I can just drop in, we've just earned a free kick out on the left.
Yep.
Long was all over Antonio. Cresswell's whipping it in now, but it's straight down. The keeper's come for it and nobody near him. So, as you were.
Too easy, rather too easy. Back to you, Rio.
Yeah, it's like I said, Sean Dyche's side always work hard, always make life difficult for teams.
Mm-hmm.
The point tonight will be a decent result against a side that, let's face it, is on the outskirts of a European place again. They may not have any superstars, but Dyche gets the best of what he's got. He makes every person work for that team and gets the best out of them.
I think that'd be a brilliant slogan for Burnley. You know, when you arrive in the town, on the outskirts of Europe. You know, that'd be a good sign for that, you know, because it has that kind of feel about it.
Yeah, we've just seen a good chance for Burnley. Gnome, talk us through it, please.
Yeah, it came down our left. Ball got played in. Just try to see who that is now. The left back Taylor put it in. It came out to Peters, is that? Yeah, 23 Peters, who led back and put it over the bar. Good chance for Burnley. Might feel he ought to have worked Fabianski there.
Yeah, I just wonder if that hit the back of the net, whether that might have been called back for a handball. It looked like it struck an arm in the build-up there, perhaps. Breeze, did you see that one?
I'm just watching it now, actually, as it's just come over. But I couldn't see whether it hit the arm or not. What I did see was Fredericks, again, woefully out of position. He swapped with Diop, who's come out to take the guy on the wing, and then just run around like a headless chicken in the box. I don't quite know what he was up to there.
Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. We're just having a look. I was just about to say we're just having a look at a throw-in for West Ham. My stream is frozen, so Gnome, can you pick us up on that, please?
It bounced about a bit. It hasn't been cleared properly by Burnley, but head tennis between the edge of the box. And, that's a free kick. It came out to Cresswell, who lost the player with some nice feet there, but just got clipped. So we've got another free kick.
Okay.
About 35 yards out, sort of slightly left of centre, which Cresswell's standing over at the moment. So Diop's stayed up in the box after the throw-in. They're all lined up on the edge of the box trying to keep onside. We'll just wait for the free kick. Cresswell clips it in. And again, the keeper's come and dropped it. And, well, it's come out to Yarmolenko on the right, edge of the box. Ogbonna tries a curler. It's a good 5-6 yards wide.
Yeah, interestingly, just there's an arm gone up for Souček. I think he was hoping for perhaps an infringement. I don't know. We'll see the replay here. Pinky, did you see anything in that? Souček seemed to think there was a foul or something or a handball. Oh, there was.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, no one's going to give anything against the Pope, are they? So let's call it how it is. You know, he's got God on his side somewhere with a name like that. And
it's been played against the defender's arm. It's not in an unnatural position. Very harsh to give that, I'd have said, but which of course means nothing, of course, with our officials. But I'd have been very upset that been given against us.
Yes. We're just seeing a free kick for Burnley right in the centre of the park there. Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, that if it goes against you, you're furious, but you take it, I guess, if it's you. And as you say, Gnome, with the way VAR has been going this season, you know, you don't really know what to expect, do you? While Burnley have just been awarded a free kick midway inside our half, while we're waiting for that to be taken, I'm just going to jump over to the chat and say hello to a few of the guys on there. Steve Palmer says hello to Zook, Hobo, evening all. Neil from Down Under. Hi, Neil. Good to see you. Richie Van, Chris Mulhall, a couple of the regulars for the last few games. Steve Palmer says, takes me ages to get a stream. Have I missed anything exciting? Steve, absolutely nothing. So I wouldn't worry about it. There's a free kick coming in. There's a header gone in and Fabianski grabs it. Breeze, do you want to take us up on that little move there?
Well, I'm about a minute behind you.
So sorry, of course. With the roles reversed. Rio, I'll come to you, Rio. You talk us through that one.
Inclement weather has made the link to Dagenham about 45 seconds behind, so I've yet to see it.
I'm on it. Great, if you like.
Go on, Gnome. Go on. You carry
free
on.
kick in from the left. Vidra was just basically given a free run at it. Free header. Basically didn't make most of it. No power behind it. Easy save for Fabianski. But again, a little bit worrying that the marking there at that free kick was poor. I didn't think it was a free kick, actually. I'd have been very annoyed if we conceded from that. They haven't shown it again, but and whereas one we should have been given just then hasn't been given.
Yeah, that was a very strange one.
Again,
it looked like Pinky. It looked like Antonio was shoved to the ground there, but the referee's just given
last time
them a
I saw an assault that effective. You know, we were storming the Iranian embassy. I mean, honestly, that was a nailed-on foul. He just shoved him in the back, pushed him over, and the refs just stood there watching. It's ridiculous. You know, one thing I'll say tonight though, Burnley, you know, and West Ham United, these are the two oldest teams in the league. So Burnley, in terms of minutes on the pitch, they've fielded the oldest team all season, and we're number 2 in that regard. So I suspect late on, fitness is going to be an issue. And I think our bench might just have a bit more about it than theirs. So that's what I'm kind of hoping tonight.
That's a really interesting observation. Gnome, go on.
Ball was played up. I think it was Fornals and Long came together. Oh, he's out. It was a free kick to West Ham's been given. Not watching it either way, really. It was contact. But Long is one of the only 2 central defenders they've got. Went down and was looking very sore for a while. He's hobbling back now. So he's clearly, it was just one of those ones that stung a bit. But free kick to West Ham, been taken short. Just Yarmolenko's got it on the right. Fredericks has gone on the overlap, cross in. Bobbles about, but it's cleared eventually.
Yeah, one of the things I've always been quite critical of DL with Fredericks is there's been very little end product. We're just seeing there's another cross coming. Suchek rising highest to nod over the bar. Yeah, Nick, I was just going to say one of the main criticisms I've always had of Fredericks is that great burst of pace down the wing, always gets in good positions, but the delivery is quite often just not good enough. Would you say that's fair?
I think that's very fair. I see a couple of when we signed him. I looked on YouTube and he looked decent. He looked like he could whip a ball in and whatnot, but he just doesn't seem really to have done it for us. He's definitely an upgrade for the summer, methinks. All right, as a reserve. All right as a reserve, but as a starter, no, I'm not so sure. But then didn't he get by the stats something ridiculous like most of the man of the matches before lockdown or before his injury or something stupid? Saw somebody put that on the forum a little while back. That he actually had going by the stats.
If they're going, sorry, if they're basing that on the KUMB match reports, that might be because I didn't update the man of the match award for about 6 games in a row, and I think Fredericks might have been given it once, and then he was given it inadvertently for the next 6 games in a row. We're seeing the genius, Sir Trevor Brooking, on the TV
without a tie.
With what was that, Pinky? Sorry,
without a tie on. I mean, you know. Standards. I mean, I can remember when you wouldn't get in the director's box without a tie on, but you know, I guess that's the modern world.
We expect better from our legends. West Ham breaking down the right as we speak. We have a throw on. Yarmolenko has just won. Breeze, Yarmolenko looking quite bright at the moment on that right flank.
I think he offers a bit more than Lanzini. I think he's definitely a type of player that likes to put himself about. He's a bit more physical, likes to go in for the tackle. But I've noticed that he's not doing the covering back that Lanzini and Fornals were doing last game. So it's kind of been left to Suchek to sweep across in front of the back 4. So, yeah, a bit of an odd one, that, because that's the kind of tactics we've been playing for the last 2 games. But maybe it's something they changed for Burnley.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing Burnley, I mean, conceding possession very, very easily once or twice here, but we don't seem to have capitalised on it so far. We are 16 and a half minutes into the game. It is West Ham United 0, Burnley 0. Very few goal-scoring opportunities. Burnley have skied one over the bar. Suchek did that early. We're just seeing Diop, I think that was, and that's a cracking pass out wide.
Cracking ball out left, yeah.
Gnome, tell us where we are.
Oh, Bowen's cut into the box, played the ball across, but Antonio couldn't get on the end of it, and it's been cleared. It was, I think,
That
might have
was
just
an
got something on
absolute
it.
classic of why we haven't got a centre forward on the pitch, and I doubt at the club. That was crying out for Antonio when he was steaming into the box. Just stand still on the penalty spot. The ball's going to arrive at your feet, and you smash it home. And he doesn't have the instinct in terms of where you run when you attack running into the box like that of a natural striker. You know, that should, have been 1-0 West Ham.
What about that?
Did all the hard work.
What about that pass from Diop, Pinky?
Glorious, absolutely inch perfect. Saw it, launched it. Very good indeed.
Yeah, great stuff. Won the ball seconds earlier, intercepting, showing some really good anticipation. Fantastic stuff from the young Frenchman there for a few seconds. Just a shame, as we say, we couldn't get on the end of it. Rio, we're nearly 20 minutes down, buddy. You happy so far? Do you think we could be doing a little bit more?
Yeah, I think both sides can be. It's been very scrappy, lack of composure. That Diop pass is probably the highlight of the game, to be honest. There's a lot of improvement from both sides to be had.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Burnley are in possession now. West Ham holding a nice shape there. Antonio doing all the running, chasing the ball down. But West Ham, they're almost known perhaps sitting like an away side the way we're defending. I mean, just sitting deep, not leaving any space between the two lines. Yeah,
as I said, to start off with, Burnley are not sitting back. They're not sitting back like, as you might sometimes expect an away team to do so. Right from the start, they've been trying to play in our half. It's, we're having to sort of bide our time and then get the foot in, as Burnley have just played it out. I don't know. What do you think, Isaac?
I don't know, says Isaac.
How do you think West Ham are doing at the moment? Good.
Yeah.
We'll take that. We'll definitely
Who's
take
your
that.
favourite West Ham player at the moment, mate?
Oh, so just looking there.
There was a photo taken with the other day on New Year's Day. What can you remember his name? No. Jack Wilson. You know what I mean?
It's all a bit scrappy. That's probably it's just gone out for a goal kick now, and Diop was bemoaning the lack of movement in front of him when he was trying to clear the ball out a minute ago. But 19 and a half minutes gone, and 0-0, and that's pretty much the right score, I think. A good time, perhaps, to dip into the forum for the first time and have a look at the Knees Up Mother Brown match thread to see what's going on there. Billy Dino doesn't appear to be a fan of our Spanish midfielder, says 4 nails at his usual influential best. I think that's a sarcastic comment rather than praise. Puff Daddy, our composure on the ball sometimes is bloody awful. Well, okay, fair enough. Hammer 1975. We don't look that impressive, in my opinion. Not very fluid. Lots of fouls and free kicks for both sides. Yeah, it's definitely a bit broken, and there's not much flow to the game stuff. We're just seeing West Ham look to build on the left. The ball's played down to Antonio, who's in the corner. He's looking to get across. He's looking for a target man. There's not really anyone. Souček, really. Pinky looks like he's taking up that role, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair play to actually Burnley at the minute, because if this is Dyche's audition, if he's trying to put himself in the frame for the West Ham job at some point, the Burnley players are doing a great job of making sure they hang on to him, because they're quite dull. I have to say they're a difficult watch at this point in time, and they've got all the hallmarks of a team that will only win you 30% of your games, and they're not going to be adventurous, Burnley. They will be hard to break down. And if I could revise my forecast now, I would, because this has got 0-0 written all over it. It's desperate stuff, actually.
I wonder if that might just suit both sides. Hard to break down, says Pinky. Certainly looking that way at the moment. Just a quick mention. I mean, I've been critical momentarily of Fredericks. Just want to point out he made a really good challenge back. The ball was played over the back there on the left, and he had a good 2 or 3 yard head start, the Burnley player. Fredericks managed to get back and intercept and knock the ball back to Fabianski. So credit where credit's due, Rio, I think, there to our right back.
Yeah, no, he does have their moments where his pace gets him out of a lot of trouble. and makes him look a lot better than he actually is. He's still not tough enough for me, and relies on that pace far too much. But that was decent.
Journalist Matt Law, who is one of those who came or fell foul of Karen Brady and the board some months ago when covering the protests, is at the Olympic Stadium tonight. He's just posted on Twitter to say, I'm at the London Stadium, and so far it's been a dreadful, dreadful game. Not really pulling any punches there, Gnome, Mr. Law.
Tell us straight, mate. I'm in good company then, or is it bad company? But yeah, it's scrappy. But Burnley, yeah, I've been trying to come forward, and good time to have a drinks break, and which increasingly less about the drinks and more about having a sort of tactical time out. I'm not a fan of these. You know, come over quick, you need a drink, and no, you don't. You need me to tell you where to play. So, yeah, very scrappy game. Burnley, yeah, they've been very difficult to break down, and they are trying to bring the game into our half. Neither side seems to really want to keep the ball at the moment, which you know, you're not going to get much of a game if both sides are going to give the ball away.
No, that's it. Just DL, just looking at Mr. Moyes there, looks quite animated on the sideline. Doesn't look particularly pleased with what he's seen in his opening quarter of the game so far.
No, can't say I blame him. It's been pretty awful. Absolutely dreadful. It's like friendly again. It's like the games immediately after the restart. There's no, it's not fluid whatsoever. Balls are bouncing off people's feet like they're made out of 50p's. It's it's a bit rubbish, isn't it, at the moment? We need a spark. Trying to think who we've got. No one.
Well, we shall see. There's still plenty of time to go, of course. The predictions were positive before the game. We're still, you know, we're doing okay. Briz, does it look to you already like this is the sort of game where perhaps one goal could be enough for either team?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, my stream's going so far back, I'm going to be at kickoff in a minute. But I think it's been cagey from both sides. Both sides look tired. I have to brief mention to Dyche, who looks immaculate on the sidelines in his kind of sharp suit. Next to Moyes, he looks like he's pulled the worst date of the prom. But I think I think both sides are just kind of knocking the ball around. I think DL hit it on the head. It's just like a friendly.
Pinky, take us up.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, we're getting a bit of change down the left side. Ball was fed to Antonio. He carried it forward, got a shot off, but probably not the best option, truth be told. It was blocked. You know, they've cleared the ball. But I think there's 2 or 3 times now we've gone down that left channel and got in behind them. So that's clearly an area we're targeting tonight.
it was a fantastic ball from Fornals out to Antonio there.
Yes, the slip ball through the gap. We're just seeing West Ham on the edge of Burnley's area again. Burnley defending for all they're worth at the moment, getting a head in or a foot in where necessary. West Ham without the now required to break Burnley's stiff resistance down so far, Rio. Taking up on what Pinky said, we're just, hang on, we're just seeing West Ham break down the left again. Ball delivered in, but cleared out to safety once again.
There we go, Bowen on the left. If we could get a decent cross in, we could get some real dividends out of the left here, but we're getting in good positions, but the final ball in the box is finding a Burnley player every time.
Yeah, it's interesting that we seem to be attacking that side perhaps more than usual, because I think if we're just looking at Yarmolenko trying to find an opening, but it's just going across the penalty area at the moment. Cresswell again, back to Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko looking for a bit of trickery, playing it short to Souček. He's come back to Souček from Bowen, who's out wide to Fredericks. Can Fredericks get it in? No, he can't. It's still being played across, and Fredericks has the ball back. Rio, I'll come to you in a second, buddy. As soon as this attack breaks down.
Which has.
It's all Souček. I mean, you know, the physicality he's giving us in the middle there, 2 or 3 times there, he's either hung onto the ball in the face of a quite strong challenge, won the ball back, found a player. you know, he's looking a super player for us at the minute. He's doing the business.
As Pinky rightly eulogises about our Czech midfielder, we see a shot of David Gold in the stands with his West Ham face mask on, all alone. Rio, sorry, my friend, I was going to come to you there. I can't remember what I was going to ask you now. It's completely gone with the last couple of minutes. But yeah, oh no, I was going to say a couple of times we've seen Diop try that long diagonal ball. I mean, it's something we at West Ham have seen for years. Of course, that was a staple under Sam Allardyce. James Collins, of course, was a famous exponent of that diagonal pass. But something perhaps that we've seen there, you know, at the Burnley fullbacks that we can exploit, perhaps, do you think?
There's potential there. If we can get in behind, get Bowen in behind, we can exploit. But my worry is that Burnley eventually will wise up and sit deeper and deeper and try and nullify that particular threat.
It's a good ball down the left again.
No.
Right. Well, there was some great work down the left. We actually got in behind again. Ball came across, shot block. It's come out. We're actually having it. And
it's a chance. Oh, it's a great save.
Oh, that's well. Ball came in from the right, I think, from Fredericks into Souček, who is looking to be our biggest goal threat at the moment. He had a shot that was blocked out. It came out eventually to Fredericks. Fredericks, lovely ball in. Souček found himself some space, volleyed it first time, straight at the keeper. Good save, and it's headed back to the keeper. We're still on the front foot. We just earned what I think may be the first corner of the game. If I'm
it looks that way. DL, our best chance of the game so far.
Yeah, and there's those balls. That's the sort of ball I was on about that Fredericks was doing for Fulham. Yep. Brilliant ball, right on the button. I think it was more luck than judgment from the keeper, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. If it goes 6 inches either side, he's struggling, isn't he? We have a corner. It's coming in from Bowen. He's delivering into the centre. It's nodded out to the edge of the box. Declan Rice looks to take it, and it's blasted over the bar. I didn't quite see who that was. Pinky. Oh, Fornals, was it? Yeah.
Fornals, he's got the good grace to look embarrassed anyway as he walks away.
Yeah, I just wonder, Pinky, just going back a few moments ago, just prior to that Souček chance, we saw Yarmolenko, the ball delivered into the centre. You were just kind of begging Yarmolenko to pull the trigger straight away there, weren't you? I mean, instead he checked, held the ball up and played it back.
Absolutely, and I'll keep coming back to my central point. We don't have a natural striker on the pitch. Yep. Someone actually, when the ball's there, who'll just leather it and say, "Bang, have that," and that's, you know, and it really shows, because we're creating plenty here at the minute, and I'd say with a striker on the pitch, 2 goals to the good would be tonight, because there's twice now where someone.
I don't know enough about the player's history, but I wonder if Souček might have been a striker in a past life. He certainly looks dangerous and seems to have that eye for goal. That I mean, he scored one.
It's definitely 2 in 2 games. I mean, you know, just shows how effective he can be. Breeze, we're half an hour through now. Third of the game gone. It is West Ham United 0, Burnley 0. West Ham just beginning to get on top though, Breeze, and definitely creating the best stuff now.
Well, I have to be honest and say I've just lost my stream completely. So I'm kind of listening to the commentary for everyone else and thinking, no, this sounds like a boring game. Maybe it's done me a favour. But I'm going to dive back into the forum and see if I can pick up a new stream. And if so, I'll be back. But otherwise, it's kind of time for me to dip out, I think.
All right, buddy, no worries. I'll pass it over to Rio while Briz shoots off to try and find an alternative moody stream for the rest of the game. Rio, we're getting on top now. We need a goal, don't we, to maximise this these opportunities we're creating.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the drinks break has done us a bit of a favour. We seem to be refocused, creating more, looking much more of a threat. Souček, as everyone has been saying, is becoming an even more imposing figure. He's outshining Declan for me tonight. Declan's been very quiet. I'm just looking up the stats, and Souček is 1 in 4 for Slavia Prague during his time there. So he's a much bigger goal threat than anyone really gave him credit for, to be honest, before he joined us.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive record for a midfielder. I mean, it's been impressive the last few games.
Wow.
Go on, Pinky.
No, I've just looked at Gnome's shirt. That's impressive, Gordon. Fair play. Yeah.
I thought my monitor was playing up.
Known with the deck chair-esque shirt tonight.
It's obviously indicative of the quality of the game that my wardrobe is now being commented on.
I've been trying to tune in for the last 15 minutes.
Gnome showing some extreme sartorial elegance on the stream tonight. But we are 32 minutes in. It's still West Ham 0, Burnley 0. A hello to Linda Greenwood, who is our latest subscriber to the YouTube channel. Hi, Linda. Hope you're enjoying the commentary so far. We've just seen Fredericks make a bit of a boo-boo. Gnome, Pinky, tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, what should have been a routine header back to the keeper, he dropped it short. Yeah, okay, we recovered the situation, but my word, it is simple error, and it's kind of like, again, what is he? What is Fredericks? He doesn't have the final ball in that's consistent when he's attacking, and errors like that against better teams would get punished, defensively, and not for my money.
No question. I guess that's what you get for nothing, basically, isn't it? You get a player who's just not consistent. That's as they say, you get what you pay for. Jumping into the chat very quickly, Steve Log, good to see you, Steve. Steve says, "Evening, gents. I wonder what Dyche makes of us. He's seen us near riots, boo Randolph off, and there was another demo due for this fixture. It would be like managing the Bolivian national side." Quite true. Joe Morgan, hi Joseph. Just a reminder that they're playing Burnley, so if you're expecting a good game, you're going to be surprised. Fair enough. Can't argue with that, Joe. Joseph also asks, how's Yarmolenko been doing? Well, fairly quiet so far, I'd say, Joseph. A couple of half chances, as Pinky and I were discussing briefly momentarily a few minutes ago. Had a real chance, an opportunity to hit the ball first time, and instead opted to bring it down and play it back. Maybe, as Pinky pointed out, if that's a bona fide striker in that position, then maybe you're going to get the shot at goal. DL, we're seeing Burnley sort of trying to do something, but we're standing fast. Declan Rice has been one of our best players in the last couple of games. We haven't seen a lot of him tonight. I'm guessing that's a good thing, though, DL. Oh, hang on, sorry, we're just going to take
Antonio's skinned his left back, or his right back. Ball's into Yarmolenko, shot blocked. It's bobbling around in there, and they've cleared it again. Antonio lost his fullback, left him for dead. Again, final ball into the middle wasn't the greatest. By the time it got through to Yarmolenko, people were on him, able to block. But that was a good run from Antonio. Again, down our left.
That could have been a goal.
Yeah, he's left him for dead there, isn't he, Gnome? And there's 3 to aim at. In the box, 3 of our players, Yarmolenko, who is it? Fornals. I can't quite see the other one from the replay. I'm guessing probably Souček. Oh, no, it's Bowen. All within 3 yards of each other. But DL, just coming back to that point I wanted to ask you about, Declan Rice, we've not seen much of him tonight. But I was going to say that's a good thing, right? Because that means that he hasn't had a lot of work to do, presumably.
Oh, absolutely. But this could be where he isn't having to do a lot. I don't know if you saw the video going around Twitter the other day of Rice and his shooting in training. And he was scoring some absolute crackers. Now, on a game like this, get forward, get up the pitch, use your feet. You can do it in training, do it in a game. Lever it, top corner.
Have a go, have a crack. How many goals? How many goals has he scored for West Ham? 1, is it 2?
2, I think.
2 now, yeah. So definitely, let's. But I suppose doing that job, it's safety first, isn't it? Ideally, we're just seeing an offside.
I think Moyes.
Yeah, we're just seeing. Yeah, I think it's just we're just seeing a replay of Fredericks. Yeah, that's the chance for Souček. Pinky, you're looking at that and you're just thinking, a foot either side and it's in the back of the net, isn't it? Pope's got no chance.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I'm sitting there thinking if we have 4 players in the box, Burnley will have 6. And defensive drilling, you will not get time in the box to get your shot off, if you're thinking about it. You'll get one chance to pull the trigger, and if you don't take it, they'll shut you down. And, I just wonder if we need a little bit more subtlety about our play, or possibly even give Burnley the ball for a while, see what they can actually do with it, and genuinely try and hit them on the break. But all the while that they've got players back when we're attacking, we're not going to walk the ball into that. Not a chance.
No, this is a very un-West Ham-like performance in some ways in recent weeks. I mean, it's almost like Burnley are playing the way we have done, just sitting back and trying to mop everything up. The teams we've been playing recently and the way that we've been set up, I think Briz isn't really conducive to sort of going on the attack, and this is probably something a little bit new for us in recent weeks.
Yeah, I've got a working stream now, which is great. Just having a look across the team, we seem to have switched some of the players around to accommodate Yarmolenko. So Bowen's gone to the left-hand side, which he was playing right-hand side last week. Fornals is in the centre, and Yarmolenko has come over on this right-hand side. But they don't really seem to have the same understanding. Fornals looks a bit lost at times around what his role is. I mean, he's naturally placed from the left in.
It's in. It's a goal. It's a goal. Gnome, talk us through it.
Undone on our left. An early cross came in. I think it's Brownhill. Chat with the sort of ponytail. We have Rodriguez. Ball's come in, early cross from the left. No real challenge on it. Fabianski got something on it. I didn't actually. It came off, hit the bar, came down, went over the line.
What is Cresswell doing?
I was just going to say this, Pinky. Neither of our fullbacks covering themselves in glory. Once again, Fredericks beaten on his side. Pinky, and the ball's coming in. Cresswell's just watching. He's daydreaming. The guy Rodriguez is coming from behind him and
absolutely. It's a recurring theme with our defence. They are lacking awareness of what's behind them time and time again. And Cresswell's gone to leather that with his boot, and the Burnley lads just crept in from behind him and headed the ball. I mean, it's just.
Oh, Antonio's through. What's happened there? He's not put that wide. Surely that was his shot gone wide. I thought that's gone so wide it must have had a deflection, but clearly not. Antonio really should have leveled the scores there. He's gone bursting through the middle, and he's hit the outside of the post when that's not good enough, I'm afraid.
Should have buried that.
Funny. Tony Cottee on the pitch. We're 4-1 up tonight. Seriously. Someone that can actually hit the net, knows what he's doing in the box. Yeah, and that's the difference. It really is.
Yeah, it's. We just saw a quick flash of David Moyes cutting a very frustrated figure there on the sidelines. He's seen his team largely control the half so far. DL. We've had the best chance. We're just seeing Burnley have another chance. It's put through and it's mishit by Vidra. Should have done better. DL, West Ham, we've had all the play, the best chances, and we're 1-0 down. How does that happen?
It's one of those games, isn't it, where the first goal's going to win. Hopefully now it will liven the game up a bit because it's been dull dishwater. What can we do the second half? We've only got 5 minutes, or according to my stream, we've got 5 minutes till the second half. Now, this is where it's probably a good job I ain't a football manager. But this has got Anderson and Lanzini written all over it.
They can't win.
Bit of quality. Now, even off form, class is permanent.
That's a shocking ball from. Fredericks again. I know it sounds like we're getting at him, but we're going forward, and the ball was played to Fredericks, and he tried to lay it off, and it was such a bad ball that it just played the player into trouble, and we ended up having to go all the way back. Antonio's managed playing the ball out wide to Yarmolenko, cuts in. That's a corner. Cut in and tried to do the keeper at the near post. I think it might have taken a little touch off the defender, but certainly I think the keeper also got down well and had it covered. Certainly a corner, but we'll just have another look at it now.
Dio, we'll come back to you in just a second, buddy. Yeah, I mean, Yarmolenko cutting inside his man, trying his luck at the near post. I don't think it's going in anyway, but Pope gets a hand on it to push it around the post for a corner anyway. Pinky, take us through the corner.
Yeah, I mean, went deep. It's come to nothing. You know, it's although Rice wins the ball back. You know, I mean, we're the right on the pitch,
You've just seen Bowen chest it down, look for options. He's played it out wide to Antonio on the left. There's Souček, Fornell's waiting for the cross in the middle. It strikes the marker, and we regain possession, Pinky.
Well, more than that, yeah, time for a T-shirt. We have just seen Yarmolenko use his right foot. Okay, so, you know, it's one for collectors that, you know, it was a poor use of the right foot, but he has got a right foot. I can confirm he is not a one-legged player. So,
we're just seeing the ball break down the left again. It swung in from Cresswell into the centre, nodded out yet again. And Burnley have possession, and I've no doubt they're going to whack this out and clear the ball. Breeze, how are you getting on with that stream, buddy? Are you up to date? Are you sort of?
I'm on 42:30, so.
No, you're pretty close then.
30 seconds behind.
Yeah.
You're 2 seconds behind me, mate.
Me.
We are building again down the left. Yet again, it's another attack down the left. West Ham looking.
What's really bad here is that Bowen and Yarmolenko are right in each other's pockets on that last attack. Yep. Nobody's covering the two centre backs are almost stricken at the back of the rain. Absolutely appalling. I mean, at least in the last couple of games, the midfield tried to help out and give some support to the fullbacks. And although Cresswell was completely at fault for the goal, you know, I've got some sympathy here because they're being left stranded by the other midfield players.
It's all West Ham at the moment. Thanks, Briz. Rio, we've just seen Declan Rice try to thread a little pass through to Yarmolenko there, and it struck him on the back of the ankle, unfortunately.
Good ball in. That's Tarkowski's cleared for a corner. It's building. We're building the pressure, but too many of those crosses are going straight down the throat of Tarkowski and Long. We're playing to their strengths in that. Need a little bit more guile, a little bit more subtlety, a little bit more intelligence.
We certainly do. Rio, do you want to talk us through this corner?
I would, mate. Well, I'm still 30 seconds behind.
Okay, I'll pass you over to Pinky then, because I know he's bang up.
Bowen's going to take it, and it's going to be an outswinger. In it comes, 7 yards out. It's delivered back to him on the chest. In it comes again. You know, he's aiming, trying to pick out Antonio, but you know, we're putting it in. He's surrounded by 5 Burnley players. I mean, you know, he's not getting his sweet on that. We're not scoring from that. Again, subtlety. How about a short corner? You know, just do something different. You know, this is quite a big Burnley team.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I say, if we've got 4 in the box, they'll have 6. It's that simple. We need to do something different.
Thank you, Pinky. Gnome, it looks like we've won ourselves a free kick again.
Yeah, Yarmolenko got bundled over. The board's up. There's 2 minutes of stoppage time as we've just gone into the stoppage time. Rice plays it in. Again, it's straight down the throat of the centre half. Heads it away. It's out to... Oh, that's terrible from Fredericks. Well, we managed to get a throw in, but it came back to Fredericks, who played it, and it looked like it was going out. The Burnley player, Bardsley, could easily have let that run, really, but yeah, we've got a long throw coming in. Antonio's on a long throw, but as Pinky said, they're big lads in the Burnley defence, and everything. They're just picking up everything. Let's see what happens when the throw comes in.
Yeah, we're just waiting to Antonio to hold this one in.
But again, it's headed out, and we're having to rebuild. Yeah,
well, Dio, I haven't forgotten you. I will come back to you in a second. Just once this little passage of play has finished, because we're really on the front foot now in the closing seconds of this first half.
We were.
Okay, we were. The ball's gone out. Dio, that affords me time to come back to you. You were talking about potential substitutions a couple of minutes ago, and you said this was a game for Anderson and Lanzini, in your opinion. Can you explain why, please, buddy?
Because we're kicking it up in the air, basically, and we're not getting nowhere. So we're going to need to play on the floor. Now, even when they're playing at a 6, 7 out of 10 game. Lanzini and Anderson can create openings. I personally don't think we're going to get anywhere. Keep hitting eyeballs into the box. They're a lot bigger than us. We keep trying it. We've seen throughout this first start, we're putting it in, they're coming back, putting it in, it's coming back. The only decent balls that we put in the box are reasonably low or waist height, like the Fredericks. We can't keep hoisting it in. We need someone with a bit of creativity, I think. We're playing a bunch of cloggers. Simple as that. So it's going to have to be quality rather than quantity.
Thank you, Dale, for explaining and for hanging on to make that point. Good stuff, actually. Yeah, it's hurling these long balls into the box hasn't really got us anywhere so far. It is half time. It's West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. West Ham pretty much enjoyed the lion's share of possession and all the best chances, and just haven't created enough. Burnley have broken once. They've taken advantage of a lapse in concentration from our right back and a serious lapse in concentration from our left back. And the ball has ended up in the back of the net. Jay Rodriguez, a striker who's been doing that all his career. You do perhaps wonder why it was left to Cresswell to keep an eye on him. But anyway, we can look at that as the halftime break goes on. Briz, I'm going to bring you in, buddy. It is halftime now. Disappointing stuff, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've looked powder puff this half. We've looked like we're all kind of fur coat and no knickers. We've gone forward and broke with the ball, but the end product's poor. I'm not understanding why Antonio's taking all our throw-ins, which leaves us a bit blunted in the box.
Yeah.
We've looked disjointed again. We've kind of gone back to the Wolves game in terms of how we're playing. Dare I say it, I was quite critical of him last night, but I think obviously we could maybe even do with Mark Noble coming on here and just stitching that hole between the kind of Souček, Rice and the rest of the midfield. Because actually we just look bereft of ideas here. It seems to be lump the ball up as much as we can, hope someone gets on the end of it, or pass it to Yarmolenko, who's going to shoot with power from range. We just seem to have no idea what to do to break them down. Burnley seems to be playing like a 1-5-5 formation. And just breaking from there. But it's really poor from us. I expected a bit more tonight, I have to be honest.
Yeah, disappointing.
I'm going to be excused for a second. I need a break.
All right, buddy. We'll see you again soon. Disappointing stuff for West Ham and for all of us who are expecting perhaps a little bit more given the last week. Let's say a quick hello to Steve Collingwood, who is our latest subscriber to the YouTube channel. How you doing, Steve? I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Sorry about the game, but there's not much we can do about that. MTB UK says, we need new defenders. MTB, tell us something we don't know, buddy. Pinky, we've lacked a striker. We've lacked fullbacks today. This all comes back to the lack of depth in the squad that Moyes has had all season, really, does it not?
Very, very much so. We know the history of the Premier League is very simple. When you're on top, you've got to score. And if you don't, you get punished. And that's exactly what's happened in the first half. We've had certainly 3 good chances to put the ball in the net. We've failed to do so. They break upfield and mug us, basically, with a fullback that's gone to sleep. If we look at this Burnley team and Sean Dyche, call it a lucky guess, but I think he knows how to coach a centre-back how to play.
Yeah.
And he will have told his central defenders, you will not get dragged out of position by this lot, no matter what, because if you do, I'll punch you on the nose. I mean, it's about as subtle as a brick in the face, but it's centre-backs. That's where they're going to play all night. And if you spend your evening banging in average crosses, that a centre-back's going to say, thank you very much, I'll head that one out. Thank you very much, I'll head that one out.
Mm-hmm.
Think Larry Lloyd and Kenny Burns in the great Nottingham Forest team. Think Huth and Morgan, for goodness sake, in the Leicester City team. It's that kind of performance from their centre-backs.
Yeah.
If you play to their strength, they're going to dominate you. So we need to do something different. And DL referred to Anderson and Lanzini. Obviously, we've got no Anderson on the bench tonight. I think Lanzini's on the bench.
You've caught me short. Yes, on the bench we have tonight Randolph, Johnson, Balbuena, Masuaku, and the more attacking positions, Noble in central midfield, Jack Wilshere, of course, Lanzini, yes, he's on the bench. We have 2 strikers to choose from tonight. Of course, don't forget, we've got Ayeti, and Seb Haller is back. We don't know how fit he is, of course, but he is there if we
Where's
choose
the
to go with
second
him.
striker?
Haller and Ayeti.
Yeah. Where's the second one?
Oh, I see.
Wakey, Graham. Come on. Here's a crazy idea. Yeah. Stick on Masuaku in a more forward-looking position and try and dribble into the box. Yeah. Have the ball on the deck and make those big hulking centre-backs for Burnley make a challenge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know. I mean, it's a really good point, actually. Rio, let me ask you for your thoughts on that. Pinky suggesting we should perhaps look at King Arthur. Hasn't he always been best as an attacker rather than a defender? Though he was brought here as a fullback, we've seen. I mean, when they were singing the song, the Masuaku song, when that came up a couple of years ago, it was primarily because of his attacking performances, wasn't it? Rather than anything, or certainly as opposed to anything he was doing at the back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got the quickest feet in the club. Sadly, he's got the slowest brain, which has always been his big downfall. But if he can recapture like some of the magic that he come up against that when we played Tottenham at Wembley, and he really gave, I can't remember who played, was it Aurea at the time? Gave him an absolute nightmare. A little bit of that kind of creativity, bit of randomness. Give Diet something different to think about, because we've been pretty predictable here. And we're actually quite lucky that Vidra's playing rather than either Wood or Barnes, because he's missed 2 absolutely glorious chances for them, and it could be a lot worse than it is.
Yeah, so that's a good point, actually. Yeah, we saw him fluff that really good opportunity, didn't we? Towards the end. And just looking at the big chances, I mean, not really much happened for the opening half hour. I think Souček's shot that was saved by Pope came in the 29th minute, which was really the first great opportunity. We saw Fornals blaze one over the bar before that, but that Souček chance was the first one that really, could have registered. We saw Antonio, of course, Gnome, with that great chance when he went bursting through the centre, the one that Pinky said, if that's Tony Cottee, it's in the back of the net, as were the other 2 or 3 chances prior to that. Yarmolenko cut inside, had the chance, which almost hit the post. So we've had the chances, Gnome, but it's just not going our way today.
Yeah, just looking at the goal as well. Even the goal, when your luck's out, Rodriguez sort of aimed his head in the general direction of it, and it sort of came off the angle of head and shoulder. One of those days. We've had chances. The chances we've had, we've been playing sort of have come from better balls in where you get behind and through, but we've reverted to, instead of actually trying to get the ball into the so-called corridor of uncertainty or whatever, we've reverted to sort of just aiming it long and in the hope that somebody can get a header on it. And of course, when you got Long and Tarkowski there, they're lapping that up all day long. They've just shown Antonio's the one Antonio missed again. It is that really should be 1-1.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a great chance, and he's had 2 or 3, hasn't he, Antonio, so far? Briz, we seem to have had more chances. I mean, we're sitting here bemoaning the fact that we've got 0 points on the board so far, but we've had chances, haven't we? And we've probably created more good chances than we might have seen in the last 2 or 3 games, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, we have had chances at the box, but I think Burnley have just defended it really, really well. I don't think they've given us a sniff at anything kind of definite. I've just watched the Antonio one where he's through one on, well, he makes the breakthrough on his own.
Yeah.
And you notice how close knit all those defenders are. Basically, he's got almost facing 4 centre backs there, where the 2 full backs close right up to the 2 centre backs. He's got nowhere to go with the ball, and that's been the difference. Is they've had the one break, we've defended abysmally. We've broken a lot, and they've just defended brilliantly. So I think at the moment it would have been pretty even apart from the goal. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it would have been pretty even apart from the goal. I think in terms of performance, I think they've just defended better.
Yeah, fair point. Dexter Fletcher says we need two fullbacks. I think we'd all agree with you there, Dexter. And he says hello as well to everyone. So hi, Dex. Good to see you on the stream. Joe Morgan says we've dominated, and he can't help but think our goal will come. Well, Joseph, let's hope you're right. Hobo says, and this is a reference to you, Pinky. He says we did much better without the boomerang. I see it's back up. I didn't notice that. But it is back up tonight again.
Yeah, and quite miraculously has landed in exactly the position it was in. It's all in the throw. It's all in the throw.
The boomerang
Just
is
before,
back.
Pinky. While you're there, Pinky, while we're talking to you, you've had a pop at my shirt. You had a pop at Sir Trevor for not wearing a tie. I didn't notice any comment from you when they showed the good Baroness wearing ripped jeans there. I mean, you know.
Well,
times are hard.
I'm not to comment on the gentleman next to her, who I once heard her describe as Birmingham City's star striker. And my riposte in that particular meeting was, do what, love? He was absolutely pony. And even she laughed at that. You know, and it must be hard.
Probably went away to find out what pony meant.
Oh, no, she knew what it meant, trust me. Bless her. You know, it's nice to see that in the midst of the COVID pandemic, that real West Ham United supporters like Karen and her husband getting to see games. Yeah, wow, that is reassuring.
Someone has already castigated our vice chair for apparently having her fingers down her throat at some point, given the current COVID crisis. I don't know if that was a reaction to the Burnley goal or not, but anyway, I'm sure we'll see more close-ups in the second half, given there wasn't an awful lot to.
Well, you know, I just, you know, I say it part in jest, guys, but do you know what? The club's made a big thing about all the NHS workers that are, you know, that support West Ham United. They were marketing it very, very nicely.
That's what Baroness calling you, is it?
And how nice? Yeah, that was her on the phone. Yeah. You know, wouldn't it be nice if they'd invited just two of those supporters in to see the game? You know, maybe a couple of paramedics, that kind of thing. I noticed that Delia Smith sacrificed her place in the director's box for Norwich City. So, you know, maybe one of our directors or two of them would say, how about letting in some you know, deserving supporters? It's a small point, but, you know, I think it's worth making.
The NHS staff are on standby for Wiltshire. That's the problem, Pigs.
Well, we might even see him in the second half here. We didn't see him at Newcastle on Saturday, but he was involved against Chelsea and had a positive impact, I think it's fair to say. Our midfielder, who has been christened Dirty Jack by the Pink Palermo in the last couple of weeks, always raises a smile.
Back in half a minute.
All right, buddy. Off you. We'll just dive into the forum while Pinky takes a break to take a call, presumably not from the vice chair of West Ham, but you never know. We are looking into the forum quickly. Samba says, just a point on the opening goal of the game. He says, when you watch their goal, Cresswell seems a bit distracted by two of their players coming in on his side. I think this takes his focus off the guy closest to him for a split second, who then scores. Well, I'm sure we can examine that one, forensically after the game, just to see exactly what was going on there. But it did seem a little bit unusual. I felt that Cresswell was left marking Rodriguez, who is the biggest and most dangerous striker out there, with Wood on the bench at the moment. Didn't seem something not quite right there. Simon Paul Thomas says it's annoying to be the better side and go in losing at half-time, but there's still something in this for us yet. Keep the faith. Let's hope you're right, Simon. Exiled in Cardiff. Back to Cresswell. What can we say about Cresswell? Personally, I believe he should sign for Norwich. They play in yellow. Oh, I can't read the rest of that. But let's just say he's not too complimentary about Cresswell. We need to do the basics properly and learn to pass for a player to move onto, not this dead weight passing. I still see us winning, although I do have an optician's appointment tomorrow. DL, do you still see us winning this one?
I see us drawing it. Well, if they score again, then it's curtains for us. But a bit of a worrying stat is when I've done eyes up Mother Brown, we haven't scored a goal yet.
Oh, you've not seen a goal?
I ain't seen a goal, no.
Well, fingers crossed we can put that right tonight. It's if not, if there's 10 minutes to go, perhaps we'll have to send you out the back for 10 minutes to just give us a boost. The players are on their way out for the second half, by the way. Fornals and Diop deep in discussion about something or another. The bubbles are up. Just having a quick look at the stats. This is unusual. West Ham have had the most possession in the first half. That's something you don't see too often. 54% to Burnley's 46, according to the BBC. We've had 12 shots to Burnley's 4. 4 on target, which I think is as many as we had in the Wolves and Tottenham game combined already. Burnley just 2 on target. But of course, the only stat that matters is that Burnley have got 1 goal and we have none. West Ham 3 corners to Burnley's none. West Ham have made 3 fouls to Burnley's 5. So, I mean, the stats are certainly in our favour, apart from the one, as I said, that really matters, Rio. Can we get this back, do you think, in the second half here?
Absolutely. Rio? We're not out of the woods. We just need to refocus and change their impetus of attack. We're playing into their hands by all the crosses going in. We need to be a bit more clever and a bit more patient and attack in a way which is going to cause them problems rather than let them soak up everything that goes into the box.
Gnome, early chance here for Burnley?
Yeah, Vidra broke into the box. He got held up a bit, but loose ball. They're putting a cross. We blocked it. It comes straight back out to them. Still going down, crossing, and Diop has dealt with it, and we're bringing the ball away now. But yeah, I think Vidra, if he had a bit more pace and a bit more intelligence, could have had us in trouble there. Instead of taking a chance and bearing down on goal and going for it, he held the ball up, and eventually we got it cleared. But yeah, not the greatest start.
Not a great start. Rio, have you noticed any changes at half time there?
Nothing at the moment. Nothing that stands out. And as I say, I'm about 35, 40 seconds behind still.
Right.
And it's still the same pattern of play that Burnley are eking out scrappy chances, and we're not doing a lot at the moment.
No, we certainly haven't started that quickly. We are just about a minute and a half into the second half. It is West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. Burnley capitalising on one of only 2 shots they had on target from a total of 4 in the first half. West Ham created 12 shots, 4 on target, but unable to make the most of any of those. We are looking for something a little bit more. Pinky, if I could come to you briefly. We're just seeing Antonio try and chase a loose ball down, but to no avail. Pinky, David Moyes, what time, if it remains at 1-0, what time should we start looking at substitutions?
Well, we need the points. We need the win more than Burnley, and more than anything, we don't need to lose. So, we've got to get a goal. We've got to get a goal. The reality, Haller hasn't played for months now. Could he give us more than 20 minutes? I doubt it. So that kind of dictates what you can do with Haller. Mm-hmm. Maybe put on someone in the middle, try to come through the middle as a runner, which again is your dirty Jack job. I wouldn't leave it too late because, Burnley, you can just see what it'll be. The last quarter of an hour, they'll be drilled. This is how you shut teams down. And we've seen it before from Burnley. That's when you'll start seeing them falling over, all of that sort of nonsense. And just had another chance there. I'd be making a change no later than on the hour if I was Moyes. He's got to give himself a chance to get at least 1 goal, if not 2. Yeah,
we've just seen Burnley go very, very close. Once again, there's a ball coming in from our right-hand side. A clever little backheel, to be fair. It's whipped in low onto the edge of the 6-yard box, and the shot's sort of been banged into the turf. I think, actually, on the replay. No, it doesn't look that close at all, but they have a corner out of it anyway.
Yeah, there was a block in by, I think it was Diop. Corner's come in now. Diop deals with, heads it away. Still not totally clear. It's out again on their left, our right. Another ball comes in. well, not quite sure where that was supposed to go. Souček header, which he seemed to be aiming to head it one way, and it went out for a corner the opposite direction. Bit of the old 50p head there, I think.
Yes, another corner coming in here for Burnley. Rodriguez lining up in front of Fabianski, trying to obscure his view by the looks of it. It's whipped into the near post. Fabianski comes out, punches clear to the edge of the box. It looks like we're going to get a strike straight back in. It's a delivery to the back post, and it's it's a complete fluff. It's an air shot by
there was an offside as that ball went in.
Vidra, wasn't it again?
Yeah,
Rio, that's Vidra again making a bit of a hash. I'm sure he'll be quite glad that the flag went up on that occasion. I don't know if you've seen that yet, or whether you're just getting round to that.
I've not seen it, but I've seen it many times during the season through his career, so I know what's coming now. He's not a great player. He's full of running, he's full of effort, but not much talent there, I'm afraid.
Yeah, DL, 5 minutes gone almost in this second half. We've just seen the long ball launched down the middle towards Antonio. West Ham haven't threatened yet. I asked Pinky how long he'd leave it before he makes before he makes a change. But just wondering what your thoughts are on that. We're 50 minutes gone. Is that change imminent, or should we just keep plugging away for the next 10-15 minutes?
I think we need to make a change sooner rather than later. We're not seeing much of the ball. But when we are seeing the ball, it's all up in the air, as it has been throughout the first half, to be fair. Maybe give it another 10 minutes. I'm not sure who you'd hook off, though, to be honest. I mean, they've all been... We've been all right. That's the problem. We've been all right. We've not been, like, rubbish, but we've not set the werewolf fight. Who'd you pull off? Maybe Fornals, get rid of him.
I'll drag Yarmo off now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Yarmolenko. But other than that, it's just ordinary, isn't it? They're all a bit meh.
We haven't settled at all in the second half yet. We haven't got the ball down. We haven't enjoyed any spell of possession. It's
Would you reckon, Isaac?
Yeah.
Who should we bring on next?
I have no idea.
Briz, just wondering there, actually, Yarmolenko put back into the starting 11 for the first time since the Premier League rebooted. Perhaps on retrospect, I mean, I know we're not even an hour through the game yet, but was that perhaps a mistake starting him? Has he been most effective as a sub in the last two games?
I'm not sure it's a mistake starting him. I think what we have done is change the entire shape of the team to accommodate it, and I'm not sure it works. Bowen, for me, has been completely ineffectual. He's the one player I would bring off. I was noticing a few times that the lack of cover from our midfield players, because we've got Bowen, Yarmolenko, and Souček now almost rampaging forward behind almost Fornals and Antonio.
Yeah,
we've really got two teams. We've got a defensive unit, an attacking unit, and no midfield. So I think the problem's not so much been that we're playing Yarmolenko, is that we moved everyone else around. I'm not quite sure why he wasn't played behind Antonio. Leave Bowen on the right and switch Fornals over to the left, which would have been a much easier fit. But as it is, it all seems a bit disjointed.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder about was that a good idea, really, Pinky, to change the formation? I mean, we've done okay. We put the same team out, and we were all quite in praise of Moyes for doing that, for keeping a settled side. Is that perhaps a mistake he's made tonight by making changes? It is only one, but I'm not sure
it's about formation. It's the fact that we're allowing Burnley to dictate this. This is an aerial game, and it's kind of like the ball's spending 2/3 of its time 20 feet up, and if you're Burnley, that's where you want it. We've absolutely got to get the ball down on the floor and run at Burnley, and have some of those giants trying to backpedal, and maybe they fall over like circus clowns. I mean, it's not smart football from West Ham at the minute. It really isn't. We're just playing into Burnley's hands. Yeah,
it's a very good point. We are 53 and a half minutes in. West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. Where the camera pans to Seb Haller on the bench. Looks as mardy as ever, quite frankly. Not sure whether that's a good thing or not. But, I guess at some point, Rio, that if the score stays like this and we're edging towards that magical 20-minute mark that Pinky referred to earlier, then Moyes probably is going to look to throw him on, do you think, and just see what he can do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he obviously doesn't trust a Jetty, so that's a waste of a substitute, really. But there's a £45 million man. He mightn't get dictated to from above. Chuck him on, see what he can do.
We're just seeing Michail Antonio trying to get into the box on the right-hand side. He's gone down rather too easily, looking for something from the referee, but you're never going to get a penalty, I don't think, from that. West Ham trying to rebuild at the moment. Now, this is a little bit better, Pinky, where we're actually, we've got the ball at last, and we're beginning to try and build something. Started on the right, we're now looking to build down the left, but a bit more positive the last couple of minutes from West Ham.
Yes, first part of the second half was shown anything, and again,
Oh, it's a lovely ball.
Lovely disguised pass to actually, I think it was Bowen in. It was just a bit wide for him to do anything with, but looking a little better. But it really is just keep the ball on the deck. And my big fear here is, we're level on points with Watford at this point in time. There's a difference of 3 in the goal difference. Unless we're a little bit more positive, we could end up in a position where, Burnley mug us for a second goal. Then where are we? We're nudging closer and closer to the trapdoor because we're failing to recognise we need a goal. We need a goal tonight.
Looks like Wood is coming on.
Yep. First change of the game, I think, Gnome.
Yeah, there were no changes at half time, and we've just seen the sight of Wood with his match shirt on. Promising little break here, but it's come to an end at the feet of Yarmolenko. We've got to throw in.
But again, I think it's what Pinky was saying, isn't it? It's all up in the air. We're not getting the ball on the deck and playing it around.
It's the couple of times we've got the ball on the deck, and there's been 3 or 4 passes, and then the next one, the one that the final ball has gone astray. It's a bad touch. It's Yarmolenko just tried to flick there again. It's not come off, and it's given the ball away, and we're on the back foot again. McNeil is running at us quite a lot, and that's good play from Fredericks there. Managed to pick McNeil's pocket, but so that's the difference. We've got nobody who's running at anybody.
Yeah,
and whereas when the ball gets to McNeil, he has us backpedaling. Nice ball down the right, Bones.
Yeah, slips it through. Is there going to be a cross? We've got Yarmolenko.
Cross. Oh, Yarmolenko was looking there, but it was cut out. That was better. But again, final cross. We've won it back there, and that's a foul on Bowen.
That's good news. West Ham, we have a free kick.
Disagree, but it's whether or not it's for the foul or for the reaction to it. It's certainly caught Bowen on the thigh.
Who's that in the book there, guys? Was that Westwood? Did anyone notice?
Oh, that's disgusting. Tarkowski.
Tarkowski.
Now, I don't know who he's booked there. Tarkowski basically stamped on Bowen's thigh. And the player, I think, as you say, it might be Westwood, kicked the ball away and then had a right go at the ref. But no,
the team seems to think it's Tarkowski.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it wasn't a naughty one. We got the free kick. Do you want to take us up on that?
Yeah,
I think we're just making a change. Sorry, we've got it's Vidra. Rio, you'll be not surprised to notice it's your pal Vidra coming off for Wood there. Probably expected, I think, really. But Pinky, if you can, we're going back to the free kick now. If you just want to take us up and tell us what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we were about to take the free kick. I mean, it was a shocking challenge. There's been no doubt about that. Yeah. Yarmo's over the ball. It's going to be an in-swinger. Launches it in and doesn't beat the first man. Headed clear.
It's a shocker.
And out they come.
It should have been a red.
DL, you say you think that's a red there?
Yeah. That was malicious. That was nasty. You should have stayed on the pitch. Should have gone.
Yeah, I think we've seen worse. We're just seeing West Ham build again on the right. I'm looking for Fredericks to get the ball in. It's cut out, but it's is it a corner? Yes, we have another corner. Briz, let me bring you in quickly, buddy, because we've not heard from you for a few minutes. West Ham beginning to look a little bit better for the last 5-10 minutes, perhaps?
Yeah, we've had the ball on the deck. I agree with DL. I think that should be a red card. I can't see why VAR didn't pull that back. To me, that's malicious. VAR, they're in a position on VAR to change a yellow to a red if they believe it's a malicious tackle. And I think that was, that's exactly what it's there for. And again, we've fallen foul, I think, of VAR. But yeah, we've kept the ball on the deck, and that's made the difference. I still think we're lacking something in the centre of midfield. I would think now, I would hook Bowen off. I would definitely have him off, and I'd put Mabel on.
Okay, good stuff. We've just seen West Ham, a Bowen corner drifted into the centre of the box. Souček, unsurprisingly, climbing highest to reach it. Unfortunately, he's not just over. We're seeing a replay of that foul on Bowen now. Pinky, your thoughts? Do you think that's a red?
Yeah, I do. I think it's an absolutely shocking challenge, and it's the downward motion. He's got his foot raised, stud clearly on show, and he's brought it down. It's almost in the Roy Keane class of viciousness, if you can picture it. And there's a lot of
wasn't
intent
too
there.
dissimilar to the one that got the lad sent off for Arsenal last night.
Okay, again, a lack of consistency.
Watching Arsenal? No.
No, I was watching Leicester.
Okay.
A lack of consistency. Gnome feels no surprise there. We know his views and thoughts on PGMOL and our current batch of referees. We are an hour in. It's still West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. The only goal of the game coming from Rodriguez in the 38th minute. One of only 2 chances Burnley had on target in the first half. They've not had an awful lot more in the second half, but it's enough. We're just seeing Antonio burst through. He's one. Oh, that's an interesting one. There's a bit of a melee on the edge of the box. Antonio goes down, but nothing given by the referee on that occasion. West Ham winning possession back though. It's a similar pattern, isn't it, Rio, to the first half? West Ham pretty much controlling things now, but just not being able to create a real decent gilt-edged opportunity.
Yeah, we're just lacking a real bit of quality. We need a bit of quality. Open up this game, get back on level terms, and kind of stand with our authority.
On comes Seb.
Here we go, sub-time.
And here he comes. Seb Haller, he's coming on. We're just waiting to see who he's coming off for. Gnome, it's Yarmolenko. Yeah, Yarmo coming off for Haller. DL, how does Moyes do it? Is this 2 up, do you think, now? Or do you think Antonio's going to drop out wide and just leave Haller up front alone?
I think they need to play together. I think they need to play together, whether they will or not. I think. Hang on.
And we've just seen Haller. He's been on the pitch 10 seconds, and he's got an absolute sitter from 8 yards, and Pope's just got a foot to it, stuck a foot out, and it was goal bound, I think, but he's just diverted it wide of the post. Let's just have a look at this again. The throw-in's come in. It's fallen to Haller. What a chance to get Pinky. That's not what you want in the first 30 seconds, is it? You want that to come to you after a little while.
We all know that Jesus saves, but even the Pope's in on the act now. I mean, it's a good save by the Pope, and to be fair, but it shows the difference it makes. Stick a striker on the pitch, at least it's on target.
We've just seen another cross coming from Fornals, which Pope yet again has he's been very commanding.
Done well here. Oh.
No?
Bowen cut in from the right, did well, got a shot in, get blocked, bobbling around. Oh, now what's happened there? It's like playground football in the box. Lots of people hacking away at it, and it's finally gone out for a corner. Some good little move there from Bowen. Bowen cut in, shot got blocked. Again, he's trying to wriggle his way through traffic. We look more dangerous when it's on the floor. Burnley panicking there. Short corner. Short corner again.
Whipped into the near post and headed out again.
Headed out for another corner. Let's just say it's an interesting spell.
Needs to make it count, though.
Yeah, indeed. That's the main thing.
I'm going to just have a quick look at the stats before this corner comes in, and we'll just see where we are. BBC's telling me West Ham have had 15 shots to Burnley's 5. I'm sure it's more than that now. Pope yet again, Pinky first up to clear that corner. I mean, it's you know, he hasn't had an awful lot to do today, but I think we're just seeing another cross whipped into the near post, yet again headed out. Pinky, yeah, I was just going to ask you, Pope, for England, perhaps we're seeing why tonight?
No, I think the reality is we're actually short on quality between the sticks for England these days.
Yeah.
And, you know, you go back to the days when Phil Parkes, I think, won a solitary cap for England, something like that, a keeper of his quality, because there were 4 or 5 very talented keepers that were English qualified at the time. I think we're almost in a position in England now where a keeper gets it by default. I'm not at all convinced by Pickford, for example. Yep. Lots of diving around, but not real confidence that he's going to do the job. Just to go to what we're seeing here, we're chucking cross after cross into the box, but it's from the wrong area. Mm-hmm. We're not getting behind them. We're not making their centre backs face their own goal to defend. You know, we're just feeding towering players who are just dealing with everything we're chucking at them. You know, this is Sunday morning football. It's not.
Oh, that's just too much on the ball through to Antonio there. We should point out Fredericks has just picked up a yellow card.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of that little bit of pressure, Burnley started to break out, and it's the modern vernacular, taking one for the team there. So yeah, Fredericks now has a yellow.
Okay, that's one booking each. Following Tarkovsky's earlier booking that many of us here on the panel, at least, felt probably should have been a red card. Doesn't matter now; it hasn't been given. Rio, we're into the last 25 minutes. It's still West Ham 0, Burnley 1. Looking at the bench, we're just seeing a ball come in, and it's a real chance. I think it's Chris Wood. It's fallen to 8 yards from goal, and he's just not really connected properly. But I mean, it's a great chance. The cross is coming from the left. He's just sort of stabbed at it, and it's fallen into Fabianski's hands. It's probably a better chance than he realised. But Rio, 25 minutes to go. Hilaire's on. Do we have any other creativity? Who can Moyes turn to change things here?
Lanzini, obviously. I know he's not been on the best of form, but maybe this could be his day. Also, as Pinky said, we've got the Arthur factor. You know, he doesn't know what he's doing. Burnley certainly won't. So it's a viable option for me. I can't see anyone else coming on really, unless there's things Noble on. But I can't see the point. Yeah,
I guess at a time when you're looking for some, a little bit of guile or creativity, players like Noble and Wilshere. Probably not the sort of players you want to turn to. We're just seeing another cross come in there, and it's all meat and drink to Pope this afternoon or this evening, should I say?
Carry the ball into their box at our feet. We need to make them make a tackle in their box. That's the game here.
Yeah, I mean,
just bringing in cross after cross. What's the point?
Yeah, Briz, good point Pinky makes there. I mean, the best chances we've had, let's be honest, have been. Antonio running through, and that chance for Haller, which was, I think it's goal bound until Pope gets his foot on the ball. You agree with Pinky? You think the best chance we've got is, delivering the ball to feet rather than trying to put it in the air against some big defenders and great big goalkeeper?
Absolutely. If this Burnley defence are going to make an error, they'll make it on the floor. They're not making it in the air. And for my money, I mean, the weather conditions aren't good there now. I mean, you know it's torrential when Sean Dyche puts a coat on. It must be tipping it down at the London Stadium. Probably a bit like Japan's had in the last 24 hours. That kind of rainfall. It's Burnley. Burnley. If I was a betting man, I'll be putting my money on 2-0 rather than 1-1.
Yeah, it's sort of set up like that, isn't it, for Burnley to counter and stick another one in there. We're just seeing a deep corner come in, and Fabianski's dropped it, but I think
it's a foul.
Yeah, that's going to be a foul all day long. So no problems. Briz, if I can come back to you, we're just over 20 minutes left now. Haller is the only sub so far. We're just seeing a quick replay of that. It's a clear foul on Fabianski. How do we get back into this game, Briz? What do we do? It's tough. We've tried pretty much everything, and we're just not getting anywhere at the moment.
I think my prediction streaks out the window for a start. I don't know. I mean, I think Pinky's absolutely right. We're getting sucked into the Burnley game. You know, every ball's bypassing the midfield. We're now playing with 2 up front, by the way, which is kind of positive. So Antonio and Haller are both playing as out and out strikers, but we seem to just want to pump the ball straight through the air to them. Yet again, I don't know. It's really difficult. We just seem really disjointed again. I mean, we've got this big gap between our deep line midfield and our attacking midfield, and it just seems to be too much space between them. And I just really want to see someone come on and cut that space down and start moving the ball about a bit. So again, it's just really difficult. We just lack some quality.
Dio, is that one of the problems of having 2 big strikers or 2 big front men on in Haller and Antonio, that as a midfielder, you're more inclined to try and pump the ball aerially to them than, you know, play a through ball or something like that?
To be fair, I think that's a bit lame, to be honest. We all know that Antonio can run on through balls. Haller's no slouch. He can run onto them as well.
Yeah.
We can see it. We can see it watching here. I'm surprised the manager can't see that we need to be playing ball to feet. Now, whether we get a goal through open play, through a corner, well, most likely, I think, if we start playing the ball to feet, to get one in the box, penalty. Simple as that. It's slippery. The ball's going to shoot off somebody's toe and a Burnley player will trip them over. That's my prediction if we play it to feet. If not,
okay.
10 minutes to go, I'll switch off so you can actually see a goal instead of me.
We've just seen a Burnley player go down under an elbow from Michail Antonio. I don't think there's anything in it. It's just one of those.
It hasn't connected with the face.
Goes up. No problem with that.
Wasn't a foul. The play's only been stopped effectively because he's clutched his head. Not a foul.
Okay.
I don't think he's actually given the foul, to be honest. I think he's just done the way he's holding the ball and the way the players are moving back suggests that he's just going to give a drop ball because it was ostensibly a head injury, although I think it was more an attempt to break up play than anything else.
I was just going to touch on something. Sorry, no, that Pinky said right at the start of the game about Burnley starting to slow the game down and maximise every opportunity to waste a bit of time. I'm just wondering if that was probably the first for example. Just seeing a ball come in aerially, once again aimed at Souček. It's going to fall to Bowen. He's 12 yards from goal. He's looking for space. It's come off a Burnley player and it's out for a corner. But Pinky, is that perhaps the first sign of Burnley sort of trying to, be a little bit professional here?
Yeah, I mean, standard Burnley tactics. I recall 2 or 3 seasons ago, right at the kickoff, up at their place, Andy Carroll challenged the first ball in the air, squeezed by 2 centre backs. They actually booked Carroll. Deliberate ploy by Burnley. Carroll then was neutered for the rest of the game because he was on a yellow card after 2 minutes. Sean Dyche knows how to coach a defensive team. If he can do anything, it's defend the box, and anything that gets slung in there, just knock it out again. You need more subtlety against him. He'd be devastating as a Sunday League manager. He'd win his league, undefeated. There'd be, the Invincibles, whatever league he was in, because it would be, dealing with cross after cross.
Yeah,
you'd have 2 6'10" centre backs, and that's the tactic. And I'm sure he's got more to his game than that, but that's the bedrock on which he builds his team. And we need to run at them, ball on the deck, get them backpedaling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time's running out, unfortunately, for West Ham to do that. And we've seen very little evidence of them trying. I'm just seeing Bowen do really well to win the ball and showing his frustration having lost it. And I think that's a Bonner. Oh, what a shame. Oh, Bonner's made a really good challenge there at the back. I thought it was a foul, actually, but the referee's waved play on. And we're just seeing West Ham attack down the left now. No, Antonio with his foot on the ball, playing it back. But West Ham, we got the ball back in possession. Let's fingers crossed something will come from this. It's gone out of play, which gives me a good opportunity to dive quickly into the match thread. My sobriquet says, best team defensively I've seen in ages. Just can't see us scoring against them. which is a fair appraisal, I think, of the situation so far. Italian Hammer says, it reeks of it not going to be our day. My only comfort is that we lose to Burnley and not someone below us. Just hope the gods of football intervene. I Hate Rhoda says, I think it's more about our finishing. And Depressed Hammer echoes pretty much what Pinky's been calling since the start. He says, now watch Burnley players go down for little fouls to kill time. So it's a little bit despondent, as you would expect on the forum. A lot of people expecting, perhaps not expecting, but hoping for a win. It's probably not a good time to point out that I'm the only one to predict a Burnley victory here tonight. Believe me, I'd rather be wrong, but that's the way it's looking at the moment, DL, with a little more than 15 minutes left to go. Burnley hanging on to this lead.
Yeah, and again, I'm a bit puzzled as to yet again he's leaving extra subs until the 75th minute. It's, you know, I'll give him his credit for his previous 2 games. He's got it right, but tonight I think he's getting it wrong. We needed fresh legs on the 60-minute mark. He brought on Haller. That is it, and we haven't really changed anything since Haller's come on. It's still the high balls into the box, balls swung into the box, and instead of just bouncing back off us again. 75 minutes, Lanzini's warming up. He should have come on 15 minutes ago. If he was going to come on, bring him on 15 minutes ago. Don't bring him on now. What is the point? We might as well bring Noble on now to just keep it at 1-0. Do you know what I mean? The game's passed by. If Lanzini scores a winner now, I'll eat my words, but I think we're more likely to concede a second than to score, than to equalise now.
You were calling that at half-time, of course, DL, to bring Lanzini on, and so we shall see if Moyes has done it with enough time, assuming he's going to come on now. We're just seeing Burnley with a little bit of possession inside West Ham's half, driving into the final third. Bit of space opening up. It's come out wide to the right. There's a chance for a shot coming in. It's come across and it's 2-0. But is he offside? No, I think he's offside.
Phew. Off for that.
Yeah. Pinky, your thoughts on that quickly?
Yeah, well, I think we've got away with that because you know, they were building and building, and they managed to just stroll into our box. Thank you very much. Very fortunate to get away with that.
It's heads offside.
They've done what we should have been doing all game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They've done exactly what we've been crying out for us to do. And all right, his head was offside, and they go and score from it. Ain't rocket science.
Yes, something that we've certainly been looking out for this second half just hasn't materialised for West Ham. Who've just tried to put in deep crosses, lots of aerial balls. We've not seen an awful lot go on the deck. The one time we did, it fell to a man who'd been on the pitch for about 10 seconds, which is a striker. You know, we're just seeing confirmation of the offside there. He's a good yard off, no question about that. I think even a referee in real time might have spotted that one. But it's, as DL says, it's something West Ham could probably be profiting from, and we're just not doing. So we are 13 minutes or so left to go. We still only have one substitution from West Ham, Seb Haller, making his first appearance since the Premier League project restart began, replacing Yarmolenko, who was in the team tonight. The only change from Newcastle, we're just seeing yet another deep ball going Gnome to the far post, looking for Souček, and I don't think we're going to get anything from that. Looks like a goal kick to me.
Yeah, it's been given us a goal kick. The last time they had a goal kick, it took nearly 3/4 of a minute to take, and let's see if they can break that record now. Yeah, Pope's sort of doing that thing about pretending to run, and of course it's being taken from the opposite side to which it went out, of course, and yeah, it's you're talking about slowing the game down. That's what they're doing.
Took so long to do that. I thought he was going to do the full Stations of the Cross, but it was another latter knee bending exercise. But I mean, we can't complain about it because we knew it was going to happen. That's the bottom line. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah, ref played an advantage that didn't exist.
Yeah, the foul on Haller. I was just going to say, actually, Rio, that we've not seen Haller had that great chance within 30 seconds of coming onto the pitch. As I said at the time, it probably fell a little bit early to him. He didn't have the chance to be warmed up at all. Even though it was goal bound, to be fair, it was a good save by Pope. But yeah, frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got to try and get him on the ball more. And I know he's been out for a couple of weeks, but we've really got to try and work to a plan where we can feed both Hilaire and Antonio in behind and on the floor, as Pinky's been saying, because we're just playing it in their hands. It's brainless football, really. We're lacking a lot of intelligence out there.
Yeah, I mean, even then, we've just seen a chance at a ball through the centre for Antonio, but it's all just more, about bluster, really, and there's no skill or intelligence to the play. It's just trying to force an opening through, well, strength, really, and will, probably more than anything else. 10 minutes to go.
Still no sub.
We have a sub coming on?
No, I'm saying 10 minutes.
Oh, you said we do?
To go and still no sub.
Yeah. We're just seeing Bowen give away possession. Pinky, you seem to be slipping deeper and deeper into your chair there, buddy.
Rodriguez has got behind
because none of us are exactly. Oh, we're just seeing a.
Oh, it's a fine save from Fabianski and a good tackle there. I think he's left his foot in on him there. Surely.
Is that Cresswell? Looks like he's in a bit of trouble there.
Yeah. Don't know. It might be. I don't know who came in after him, but they certainly left his foot in Cresswell. It was a good save, Rodriguez. Had Diop tied in knots there. Just he's onside. There's no question of him not being onside. Got him behind Diop. Diop got around, but
he's come across him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Got the shoulder, and he's come across, and we're not going to see that one to see whether it was a foul on Cresswell. It was a good save there by Fabianski. I guess that's the mark of a good goalkeeper, that you can, have nothing to do for 15 or 20 minutes, and you're still alert to pull off a save like that. Pinky, that one's for you.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean, I wasn't slipping deeper into my chair. I was slipping deeper into a coma. That's how poor this has been in the second half. Fab did well there. He did what we'd expect him to do.
Yeah.
But again, the Burnley lad managed to skip round Diop and get the shot off. That's the bottom line. They are doing what we are desperately not doing. And if there's another goal in this game, you've got to say it's going to Burnley. It's not going to West Ham. We are being utterly mugged here, and we're being utter mugs. No question about it. We've walked straight into the Sean Dyche trap. Just I'll give you the flanks. You can launch balls into the box all night, lads. You won't get in behind us, but for about 15 yards out, you can just swing a lazy cross in, and my centre backs will just head it away all night, or Pope will catch it. It's poor from West Ham. It's unintelligent.
Lewis Ehrentrautz, who's been with us for most of our streams. Hi, Lewis. Good to see you again. Says, we hardly ever come from behind to win, let alone draw. Why do we always get punished when we miss chances? I said a 2-0 loss, and I'll be right. They have a lot of injuries and have done nothing. Steve Law, another one of our forum regulars. Hi, Steve. Says, on Dyche, I wouldn't want him here. He'd get us up the league, but I'd hate the style. Very much a Marmite kind of manager, I guess, in the style of Allardyce, I suppose. Dexter Fletcher says that Sullivan's Crystal Panther has more movement than those two. I'm presuming he's referring to our strikers who haven't been able to find the back of the net yet tonight. Dipping into the match thread on the forum, it's very, very quiet and all very, as I said earlier, very despondent. KRC says, isn't this the most typical West Ham performance since we've been back playing? I even called it earlier to my mates, saying we know how this pans out after missing chances, excuse me. Paolo Paul says, I don't really get all this praise for Burnley. We've had enough chances to beat them comfortably.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Vanessa Spotted Yeti is about to make an appearance.
We are going, Pinky, perhaps with 3 up front, do we think?
Well, I mean, dare I describe it almost as the second coming, because I think it's his second game this year, is that something like that? If he gets on, but I don't think we'll go 3 up top. I think Antonio's going to get hooked. But it's a sign of desperation now from the manager. So we've gone from a coherent plan, which was a bad plan, which was just launch crosses into the box. And now in the 84th minute, we're going to see something a bit different. Bit late, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly would appear that way. Briz, Ayeti, can he be our saviour tonight?
I can't do any worse than what we've had only earlier on. I mean, I think tonight you've got to blame Moyes for this. I mean, he's done nothing to change the pattern of the game. I mean, he's the guy on the side. He's making the decisions. He's picking the players and he's setting the team up to play. He would have known what Burnley are like as a team. And we've done...
Sorry, we just had promising position and it's an awful ball. Lazy, lackadaisical. Could have played in somebody on the right. And sorry, I just find it very annoying when, we've not played well. We've not got ourselves into decent positions. And when we do that. You know, it's
not good.
Frustrating.
Frustrating. Briz, if you come back to you, buddy, to finish your point there, please.
Yeah, I mean, the point I was making again was that I agree with DL. I mean, I think that he's had ample opportunity to change the pattern of the game by making substitutions, but by actually saying to the players, look, let's change our shape for a bit. Let's try and work our way around them or through the middle. Absolutely nothing. We've reverted to plan B all the time, which is to lump the ball up and try and get something from it. And I think that's on him tonight. As much as, people have been crediting him over the last few games, and fair enough, we've had a change in fortune. But tonight, he's gone right back to type. It's been risk-averse again, and it's just been like-for-like substitutions and nothing. There's no creativity. There's no entrepreneurialism. It's just David Moyes, same as always.
We're just seeing a very frustrated Jared Bowen react there to a complete waste of possession from West Ham. First of all, just winding back a minute or so, Bowen had the chance to put a low cross in, possibly Rio, but opted to deliver it to the far stick in the air, which is something we've all sort of said clearly isn't working. And then we've just conceded possession. It's just shocking, really. And I think that sums up our afternoon or our evening, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I'm almost at a loss for words because we see it time and time again. We play to the level of the opposition, as we said. And
ball has now gone out. Remember about 4 minutes ago, we were talking about Ayeti. Well, the ball didn't go out. And what we got? So Fornals is off. And Ayeti's coming on for Fornals.
Yeah, that was. I wrote in my notebook, Gnome, 83 minutes. Ayeti coming on, and we're now in the 86th minute. So
yeah,
he's been standing there for 3 minutes.
Thank you for that. We can't even win a ruddy throw-in when we need one to get a player on.
Rio, back to you for that point you was making there, buddy.
Yeah, no, we're just lacking in every single department. We're not utilising what we have at our disposal. We're playing a predictable game, which falls it right into Burnley's hands. We're going nowhere. Today, like after the momentum we built up over the last two games, this was an opportunity to get at least a point here. And we look like we're going to, dare I say it, crash and burn. And it sends the wrong signals out for the week.
Yeah, well, just looking at the shape here, Pinky, it looks like Antonio's come out wide on the left.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
To leave two. We're just seeing the play stop because I think Bowen's had a shot and the Burnley player has hit a Burnley player on the head and he's gone down like he's been shot in the face. And it's actually bounced off his shoulder. But Pinky, this comes back to what you were saying earlier about maximising the opportunities to waste time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And all evening we've seen pointless cross after pointless cross.
His shoulder.
We've played into Burnley's hands, and this is all part of the Burnley game, and we see it season after season. If you give them the lead, they'll know how to defend it in the last quarter of an hour with fair means or foul, and they will see this as part of the game, and they'll say, well, yeah, so what? Sean Dyche won't care that 40,000 West Ham United supporters think he's a bit of a negative guy and not playing in the spirit of the game. He'll lap it up. He will be going all the way back to Burnley, laughing his head off at this because he'll go, and we've mugged them. We've absolutely mugged them. This is dreadful from West Ham. It really is. This guy, he may well be injured, but you know what? The clock is ticking by, and they never add on as much time. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think he's been down for
Burnley
about
medical
90.
staff. Yeah. Can you remember who you went to school with in 1955? Just try and give us 3 names of classmates. It's
Yeah, it's a little bit cynical, isn't
but
it?
it's what we knew we would get.
So we are entering the final minute of normal regulation time. It's still West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. There are very few signs. There have been very few signs in the entire second half of West Ham clawing this one back. There was the
That's 5 of stoppage, I'm guessing. My
no,
money's on 5 minutes of stoppage.
Okay, no predicting 5 added on.
Open goal, and now Lazarus about to re-enter the field of play. I mean, it's pathetic, but this is what they do.
It hit him on the shoulder. Sure, they look like replay. Hit him on the shoulder and not on the side of the hip.
It's nowhere near his head.
Interestingly, West Ham not. You don't see that often. A drop ball given to West Ham, and instead of kind of playing it back or even giving the ball to Burnley, the ball is whipped immediately in by Bowen. It's a deep cross.
Correct, Graham. The thing is, if the referee stops the play for injury, it's now given straight back to the team who had it.
Yes, I appreciate that, but I'm just saying it's very unusual to see it delivered in. Maybe it's the position, I guess, but to see the ball whipped in straight away like that, it's immaterial anyway, isn't it? Because it's come to nothing. Yet again, it's the sort of cross that's just not benefited West Ham at all tonight. DL, it's the same old, same old.
Exactly. It's just like having a broken record, isn't it? It's shocking. It's actually shocking. Well, it's insanity, isn't it? When you just keep trying the same thing over and over again, hoping it to work.
We it's 6 minutes of stoppage rather than the 5 I predicted. So, but unless we do get it on the floor and start doing something that we haven't been doing for the previous 90, it ain't going to happen.
Just blow the whistle now, puts out our misery.
Yeah, you do wonder if there's anything's going to happen. West Ham breaking on the right. Briz, I'll come to you in a second, please. But the ball's gone to Jared Bowen. He's got behind his man, but it's actually a very good recovery tackle. We do have a corner though, Briz. Can we do anything?
We have a score.
Can we get this back?
I can't see it tonight. I think we could carry on playing for another 90 minutes and we wouldn't score. And one of the things that was said earlier on, and I agree with, I go to watch the rugby a lot. They
ball's whipped in. And sorry, Briz, I'll come back to you in a second. It's evaded everyone in the box. It's fallen to Declan Rice at the back post. He's managed to turn his man. He's got time and space. He's lobbed it gently back to the far post, and it's another corner for West Ham. Briz, back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I go and watch the rugby, and whenever the play stops, the clock stops. There's a clock in the stadium. All the fans can see it. As soon as the play stopped, the clock stops, and that clock carries on until it hits the 80-minute mark for rugby. So I don't understand why they don't do that in football stadiums. Surely then everyone could see how much time there is, and it would stop all the silly game playing with teams where they're going down for nothing.
Yep. Yeah, I just wonder how long the game might be if that was the case. I think I agree with you. I just think we might be there all bloody night if that was the case, especially with some of these.
Referee, that's gone out for another corner, mate.
Yeah, Gnome, it looks like the keeper's dragged that one out. Do you think?
Yeah, it's gone out for another corner. He's dragged it back, and nothing's been done. Let's face it, Oliver can't see a ball when it's 2 foot over the line anyway, so he's not going to be able to spot anything as difficult as a corner, is he?
Let's start. Probably time to start. Yeah, let's launch a few at the referee because it doesn't look like West Ham are going to give us anything to cheer. We're just breaking again on the left. Antonio trying to cut inside, trying to weave his way through the box. He's looking for an opening. There's nothing there. Turns to face the goal. Chips one up to the far post. It's punched out. Oh, and it's just actually Bowen was inches away from getting it. We're still in possession. Pinky, do you want to take this one up?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's desperation stakes now. We're launching things in, but again, fundamentally, it's no different to what we've watched all night. It's being dealt with consummate ease by the Burnley defence, and I think what is the definition of insanity? Repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Well, this is where we are. Yeah,
exactly. As Dio, I think, was referring to a little bit earlier. It's we just I can't understand it really, Rio. It's we've spent the best part of 90 minutes trying the same tactic and it's clearly failing. It's not producing anything. And it makes you wonder why we're persisting with it, why Moyes hasn't tried to change. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. If the manager can't see that the same thing isn't working time and time again, surely one of the players has got to take responsibility and forget the manager's game plan and adapt it for ourselves. Try something different. Try playing the ball through the middle. Try getting down the wings and playing it low. That Declan Rice incident a moment ago, just fire it low across the box. If it ricochets off and goes in their net,
Oh, referee.
Don't float it to the back.
Gnome?
It's just McNeil's gone down under a sort of slightest breath of fresh air because Rice was near him, and Oliver, displaying all the invertebrate qualities for which he's become famous over the years, just bought it completely. It was like it was. I know we're mugs and we're suckers. We've been sucking into this defeat, but we're not the only ones being a sucker out there, I think.
It is. We are inside the final minute now. I don't think any of us think West Ham are going to get this back now. It's going to be a miracle if we can save this game. We are going to stay on for a little bit after the final whistle to discuss, how this affects our season. I mean, it's a real, we have had a good week, but this, that's
what annoys me, because there's been, West Ham players gone down and, he's clutched his face. Similar challenge to the one he's just given. And, Antonio stopped to get the applied treatment and everyone's just playing on. Where's the consistency?
We are rapidly approaching. Pinky, I'm going to come to you to take us through to the end, please, buddy. We're about 30 seconds left to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Burnley win is almost secured, and I'm starting to feel that we actually protested at the wrong Burnley game, because whatever the rights and wrongs were going on in the club at that time, what we've seen tonight has been utterly shocking. We've got one last chance here. We're building, balls launched in again. It's just headed away.
Right on the head.
Heavens above. That's it. We're done for. Brainless, absolutely brainless football from West Ham United. That is a shocking display. The fact we're still in a relegation scrap, and that is the best we can muster. Dare I say it, playing that badly, do we deserve to stay in the Premier League?
It is a shocking way to come back down to earth after a really good week. It's also about as West Ham as you can possibly get. Beat Chelsea, go to Newcastle and draw, and lose at home to Burnley, who have about 3 shots in the entire game. Burnley look like they've won, and they can't believe it. They're almost in as much shock as we are that they've managed to leave the London Stadium tonight with 3 points. They've produced very little, but they haven't had to, because West Ham spent the last 96 minutes launching long balls into the penalty box, hoping that something will fall, and it just hasn't worked out. Team, I'm going to come to you quickly. We're looking at Antonio lying on his back, absolutely distraught. No surprise here, really. Let's go round the table and just discuss our post-match immediate thoughts. DL, I'll start with you, buddy. West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. What are you thinking?
I think the most exciting thing that happened throughout that game was about 5 minutes ago when the doorbell went and Tesco bought their delivery, to be honest, because it means I've got some more cornettos for next week. But other than that...
Every cloud.
Yeah. It was disgusting. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. Trying the same thing time and time again. 1-2 subs, one of them 4 minutes before the end of the game. Sorry, that voice. You know what I mean? Change it up a bit. That's all I asked. We still lost. Fair play. But it's just he rigidly stuck with it. Even when Allaire came on, we didn't change formation or shape. It was exactly the same. It was broken. He should have fixed it. He didn't. This one's on the manager. It was painful to watch.
Painful to watch, says DL. Briz, your thoughts, please.
I just echo everything DL said. I think that this was on the manager. How you don't understand from the outset that Burnley are going to be a physical side to put you under pressure and they're going to win everything in the air when you're an associate Premier League manager with, who's is in the business of winning things. You know, I really don't understand how we set up to do that and how he doesn't change the side to actually take advantage of playing the ball on the floor. I think it was an appalling game. You know, we saw David Sullivan sitting there like Kim Jong-un in the middle of the game in the stands looking bored stiff, and I think the rest of us were just as bored as him. I think absolutely appalling. We almost reverted to this kind of similar type of pattern of play that we had in the Wolves game, and the only person really that comes out with any credit from our side is Antonio, who worked his socks off the entire game for very little reward. And you know, I could have left halfway through, well, did at some points, but I could have left it halfway through and just gone and done something else because it was that boring.
Not good stuff. Rio, the managers often like to accentuate the positives from defeat. Are there any positives we can take from this one?
None at all. That was unprofessional and brainless, to be honest. We got stuck in a one-dimensional way of attacking and didn't escape that throughout the whole game, despite the fact it wasn't working. And it just sums their club up, doesn't it? You know, you get that little ray of hope, that little bit of momentum going, and we decide to crash it down by one of the most in-depth performances we've seen for quite a while.
Yes, very harsh, but very true assessments of the game coming in from our team. Gnome, do you feel the same way? There's nothing that we can look at positively from that particular fixture?
The one positive thing I can take out of that is that, well, it's now 2 because it means Tottenham have gone down a space. No, seriously though, the one positive thing I can take out of that is that with any luck, that will be a kick up the backside for the players who obviously the last 2 games, well, this is easy, isn't it? And we won't go into the Norwich game with the sort of complacency that I saw out there tonight, and that we'll actually think, well, no, actually, we have got to go and beat Norwich. This is, you know, we've actually got to go and do the job.
Yeah.
I mean, what was most disappointing for me was that we didn't do what we've done in the last couple of games. If you look at the goals we've scored and stuff like that, it's because we've got round players, we've played it to feet. We just didn't do that. And you know, I was looking forward to us doing what we've done against Newcastle, and you know, passing the ball around, and you know, had we done that, there was a win in that game. You know, but you know, we just got, as everybody said, we just got suckered in. We got drawn. I know it seems silly when they're sort of so far above us in the table, but we really got drawn down to that sort of level of football. Maybe I hope anybody watching that who has come up with the idea of replacing Moyes for Dyche will look at that and may have second thoughts. I mean, that's another perhaps good thing. But yeah, including your lad, Rio. But you know, it was just so disappointing because it's undone the good work that we've done in the last couple of games.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just very disappointing.
Pinky Gnome says it's very disappointing. Does it feel like a major opportunity squandered?
Absolutely. You know, I'm mindful of when Frank Lampard was Derby County manager and he complained about Leeds United, you know, spying at the training ground, and then Bielsa pulled his pants down in his press conference and said, no, we watch every team. You know, like the last team we played, we watched 45 times, and I've seen every minute of every game. So I'm assuming that most of the clubs will have video departments will actually analyse the opposition that you're going to play, look for the strengths, weaknesses, how they play, style of play, fairly basic stuff. Everybody does it.
Mm-hmm.
We knew how Burnley were going to play tonight. We knew, us guys on this chat. Somehow our manager appears not to have garnered that bit of information. You know, somebody appears to have failed to tell him that they will have a couple of big hulking centre backs that will deal all night long with lazy crosses slung in. You know, and it's kind of like, even if he hadn't been pre-warned, let's say he'd given everyone off, they were all on furlough, the video department, the coaching staff. None of them have been at work for 6 months. Let's give the manager the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, he had 45 minutes of the first half that we know he was watching because we've got him there on camera. He was looking towards the pitch. He could see himself.
Yeah.
And he didn't get 3 phone calls from work in the first 45 minutes like I got. Yeah. So he had no distractions. And yet, what did he say at half time to them? What changes did he make that we could witness and evidence in the second half?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is clearly not enough, because Burnley have turned up and they've said, we're going to play the Burnley way. Yeah, you know what's coming. And we'll stick to our game plan. And I've gone away with 3 points. And Sean Dyche, you know, he's going to go back up the M1, the M6, laughing his head off. Absolutely laughing his head off. West Ham United, on the other hand, we're now right in the mixer. And we go to Norwich on Saturday, not with confidence, but with trepidation, because forget talk about we'll rock up at Carrow Road and, you know, it'll be a nice comfy 2-0 win.
Mm-hmm.
We know, again, the people on this call, what's likely to come. We spoke last week about it's not a happy hunting ground for us. Yeah. Norwich, we know, have got nothing to play for because they've got nothing to lose. Out you go, boys. Put yourself on show for clubs that might want to come and buy you if you want to remain in the Premier League. Yeah. We're banging trouble again. That was a poor performance, a dreadful result. And the manager really has to look at it and go, either this squad is so bad that I have no options to change a game like that, or I've just lost the plot. Because, you know, we all knew what was going to come. We all knew how Burnley would play. Where was our plan B? Because the plan A wasn't working from minute 1. Not good.
Yep, we said thank you, Pinky, for your comments, and thank you, gentlemen, all of you, for your immediate thoughts. We're all on a similar train of thought there, I think. Just really can't understand why Moyes didn't try and shake it up a little bit when it was clear that what we were doing wasn't working. I do just wonder, having looked at the match stats, whether Moyes will point at those and say that he was justified perhaps in pursuing, you know, that line of attack and just sticking with that plan A. Running through the stats quickly, possession-wise, West Ham 53% to Burnley's 47%. Now, this is the shocking one, or this is the one perhaps that Moyes will use to justify his decisions. Shots, Burnley had 8 shots with 4 on target. West Ham 22 shots with 5 on target. Now, forgetting everything that's happened and forgetting the fact that, of course, that means nothing ultimately. Because as we know, the only stat that really matters is how many goals you get in the goals scored column. It's probably some time since West Ham conjured up 22 shots at goal in a Premier League match. So no doubt Moyes will you know, point to that in his post-match presser. Corners, West Ham 10 to Burnley's 3, fouls 7 each. I'm just going to dip into before I'll come back to you guys for your thoughts on that. In just a moment, but I'm just going to dip briefly into the chat because we've been joined by quite a few people since the final whistle. So hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us, especially those of you that haven't been on the Eyes Up Mother Brown stream before. We are here for every Premier League match between now and the end of the season. We'd love to have you with us. And of course, we love reading your comments. It's always good to know what you think as well. Just looking at your comments quickly, Lowell Green says can't keep a clean sheet every match. It's gift time. This is, of course, something that Moyes banged on about in his pre-match presser, and that we need to stop conceding goals just as much as we need to, you know, score more. Chris Dalby said, I really wanted Fredericks to do well. I've come to realise he needs to be sold to a non-league club. Perhaps a little bit harsh, but he's certainly, you know, not doing anything to prove that he deserves a place in the first team at West Ham United. Richard Van says there's no intelligence in our play, no guile or passion. Tonight was abysmal. Steve Page tells us that Ayeti is abominable. You know, he certainly didn't get much of an opportunity to, and that's the problem, I guess, as a striker. If you're only getting 5 or 10 minutes here and there, you know, you do tend to snatch at chances and try a little bit too hard, perhaps, because you know that you're not going to get too many opportunities. Steve Law, we might have read that comment earlier. It says he wouldn't want Dyche here. He'd get us up the league, but hates the style. Chris Dalby wants a manager with tactical nous. Doesn't believe that David Moyes can do it. Hobo, who's been with us for most of the evening, says, I'm generally sympathetic and supportive of the manager, but that was dreadful in every way. Not a clue. Chris Dalby finds a positive for us. Haller is back. And I think he's probably right there. So well done, Chris. That's something to cheer, maybe. We're just watching Sean Dyche do his post-match presser on the side of the pitch. Perhaps, I don't know if you can keep track of that and just see what he's saying there. We will, of course, come back to David Moyes' post-match thoughts later in the stream. We'll keep an eye on the web just to see when they come out, and we'll bring those to you as soon as we get them.
Just one stat, Graham, that you didn't refer to, but they put up on screen a few minutes ago. Yeah, that was Nick Pope's 14th clean sheet of the season.
Wow, that's some going.
He's had more clean sheets than Alisson at Liverpool.
That's not bad going at all, is it? Well, I guess that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, perhaps with a reason for his selection. I mean, you rightly pointed out that England have a real lack of quality goalkeepers. We were talking there about when Phil Parkes was, between the sticks, couldn't get a look in for England up against players like Peter Shilton, Ray Clements, Joe Corrigan, even some real quality at the time. We don't have that now. So
I'm maintaining that actually the Burnley, Nick Pope's clean sheets are down to what's in front of him.
Yep.
And you look at their back four tonight. They were rarely wider than the 6-yard box.
Yep.
They were absolutely in perfect alignment. Fantastically well drilled as a defensive unit, and there's not a chance the tactics that we were deploying for most of the night were ever going to yield a result, because that is the Burnley game. That is how they play week in, week out. Chuck it at us, lads. We'll suck it up and we'll just bang it back at you. And Dyche has stood there now, and he's having the good grace not to laugh, but he'll probably wait till he get out of the coach before he bursts out laughing. They must absolutely kill themselves laughing every time they travel back to Burnley, because that's Sunday morning football we've just watched, and we couldn't come up with anything to draw them out, get in behind them. Just poor.
All round.
Cole there now. What would we have given to have someone like Joe Cole, young Joe Cole, to actually go and unlock that defence?
Yes, there was just no, as I think you all pointed out throughout the game, there was no one there, able to do that, to pick a pass. Fornals tried once or twice. Declan Rice had a couple of decent through balls, but nothing. No one really there that strikes fear into the heart of an opposition defence. I want to quickly look ahead to Saturday. We'll come back to this game and David Moyes' thoughts when we get those in, but just want to have a little look ahead. We thought we'd be going into this.
I've seen the Tarkowski challenge again.
The one we thought was a red, yeah.
I mean, the more I see it, the less good it looks. No attempt to play the ball; it was just an out-and-out stamp. And this Joe Cole there is saying, well, after last night's decision, the lad in the Leicester game, Pinky, I'd imagine that would be look. He said, "I'm surprised it wasn't looked at again." I'm absolutely amazed it wasn't. It was,
bit of a shocker.
Yeah.
Bit of a shocker by all accounts.
Like watching Howlett in his bad days.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? The league table, we remain 16th. West Ham remains 16th in the table on 31 points. With a goal difference of -19. We are level on points with 17th place Watford, who have a goal difference of -22. And of course, the two teams go head-to-head next week, which could be either way. I think now that is going to be a huge game in terms of how both teams' season will pan out. Before that, we go to Norwich. Norwich are bottom of the table with 21 points. I think if we beat Norwich, they are down, aren't they? Because they are
Yeah.
10 points behind Watford in 17th. So yes, a defeat for Norwich against West Ham on Saturday will condemn them to Championship football. I think it's probably pretty nailed on anyway. But I'm just wondering, actually, can anyone remember the last team we actually relegated? Rio, you're good at stuff like this. Can you remember who we may have relegated in recent years? Anyone, perhaps?
It's a tough one.
Putting you on the spot there, buddy. I appreciate that.
You've done this quite a few times since we started doing this, mate.
Yes, there is. This is because
Come
you
on,
show
Rio.
a wealth of knowledge. That's why I always come to you. What about you, Gnome? You're pretty good at this. Can you remember, or any of you
To be
guys?
honest, I can't. I mean, it's just you have to be there at the right time of the season, don't you? I mean, arguably we've relegated lots of teams over the years by beating them, but we've not been the ones around on the game where it became mathematically impossible for them to stay up. It's not particularly meaningful statistic anyway. So
no, not at all. Lowell Green in chat says ourselves. So yes, we've certainly relegated ourselves on a few occasions. Lowell, well pointed out. Let's talk briefly about Norwich though. It should have been a game that we could look forward to with. Having taken 4 points from the last two games, as Pinky said, we are right back in it now, and we need a result. DL, let's start with you. Norwich. What are you thinking about that one now? Is it a game that we should go and attack, or is it again now we should be perhaps looking at just taking anything from it?
It's a game that we can't lose. We mustn't lose. Now, what Moyes does about that, whether he sets us up defensively rigidly and hits them on the break, personally, I think that might actually be the way to go. I think confidence is going to be low after tonight.
Yeah.
With every single bloody game, 2 goals. Hopefully we stop the rot against Norwich, because if Norwich get 2 goals against us, I can actually see them winning. I can actually see them winning it. They're going to fight for their lives. But the philosophical part in me thinks we're actually not in as much trouble as we thought. Chelsea was a free hit. We got 3 points from it that we weren't expecting. So out of those 3 games, Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley, we were on, I think, the points that we would have expected. Instead of the 3 points against Chelsea, we was expecting them against Burnley. Yep. So looking at the bigger picture, I don't think we're as worse off as we were coming into this run of 3 games. Mm-hmm. What we could have done with that is losing this one. To be honest, I would have rather, I know it's Chelsea and everything else, but again, trying to be pragmatic about it, is if we had lost against Chelsea, won against Newcastle, drawn Newcastle, won this one, we'd be going in against the bottom of the league team full of confidence. Unfortunately, we're not now. We're going in with our confidence knocked again. He needs to make some changes. I'd give Mazuaku a run out next time. I think he could cause damage with his pace down there on the left-hand side. Give Cresswell a rest. He's been involved in conceding at least 2 goals in the last 3 games. Who do we have in the middle? Do we bring Noble back? No, leave him on the bench. Bring Lanzini back in. Yarmolenko can go back to the bench. And basically the same team as against Newcastle and Chelsea. It weren't broken. I don't know why he thought he had to bring in Yarmolenko. Use him as an impact sub off the bench when Norwich are tiring. I think we'll win, but I won't put my house on it. Not at all.
Okay, thank you, DL, for your thoughts. Briz, DL thinks we'll win, but he thinks that we should perhaps go back. A very, very valid point, I think, that he makes there. You don't change a winning team. We didn't for Newcastle. It paid dividends. We did tonight. Whether that was tactical, whether it was deemed necessary because players required a rest, we'll hope to find out from David Moyes in the next half an hour or so. But is Norwich now a mustn't-lose game rather than a must-win game?
I think morale-wise it is, and to keep us going with a bit of form. I think that I can see it being a draw all day long. I think Nigel Pearson will have them drilled well, like Sean Dyche did tonight. I think they'll want to have a bit of pride at the end of the season, regardless of whether they get down or not. Yep. I think they'll see us as a bit of a soft touch, especially after tonight. So I don't know. I tend to think I would I would stick to a similar, or if not the same team as tonight, I would stick to the same team that we had in the last game. I wouldn't change it too much. I don't think we need to. I think that we were undone tonight by a very good Burnley side who got us playing their game. I'm not sure that Norwich will be the same, although they will be well drilled. So I don't know. I think I'd probably stay with the team we got tonight, but I think that we need to kind of to play better with the ball on the floor, and I think give them a chance to earn a bit of pride back.
Okay, thank you. Pinky, Norwich nothing to lose, pretty much. They have to win every single one of their 4 remaining games to even stand a chance. And I think even the most optimistic Norwich fan would say that even that's not going to be enough now. That would only give them 33 points. So it looks like they're doomed. But does that give them the freedom to be able to attack? I mean, you mentioned about the manager saying to them, go and earn yourself a contract at a Premier League club next year. Does that put the pressure back on West Ham really for Saturday?
Very much so, because, for Norwich, they'll see us now. It's a free hit. Go play your game, lads. Do what you want, and you can see how fragile this West Ham United team are. They're in a good position in Newcastle, and a midfielder falls asleep and plays Newcastle onside, and we drop points there. Tonight, Aaron Cresswell was almost in a sleeping bag, wasn't he, when the Burnley lads snuck in behind him? Because you're not really going to notice a 6'2" player coming in behind you, are you? At high speed, and so if you're the Norwich manager, you're going, this West Ham United team have got a soft underbelly, and do you know what, lads? Go out and enjoy yourselves today, and I think we can beat this lot. And he will send his boys out to try and beat us. They're not hanging on for a point, Norwich, because a point is no good to them. They need 3. And guess what? So do we. We need 3. And if our manager's got anything about him, he'll be saying to the players, forget the league table. This is a cup final, and we're going to win the cup. This is the way we've got to approach this game, is view it as a cup final and outscore the opposition, because Norwich are going to come at us, and this will be one. You know what? Let's go win it 4-3. That's my view. But if we just try and go and play a cagey game, keep it tight, boys, all that usual rubbish, we'll get mugged. We got mugged at the weekend. We got mugged tonight. And if we do that at Norwich, we'll get mugged there as well. There's a reason we're where we are on the table. We have a soft underbelly, and it's shocking stuff. For all the talk we say about we haven't got the strikers, we haven't got this, we haven't got that, we leak goals. We're not solid enough at the back. It's that simple. Burnley tonight, we could still be playing at midnight. We weren't going to score. And I don't care how many shots we're having. If they're 30 yards wide, they're meaningless. 5 shots on target. That's what we produced in a game we dominated. Yeah.
Thank you, Pinky. It's interesting. I'm just while you were talking there about having the soft underbelly, I've just been looking back at the stats to see when our last clean sheet was, and I'm sure you probably don't need to look at the stats. It looks like apart from Gillingham in the FA Cup, the only clean sheet that David Moyes has kept was the first game in charge when we beat Bournemouth in Stratford 4-0. Since then, we've conceded 1 at Sheffield, 1 against Everton, 4 against Leicester, beaten at home by West Brom, 1-0, 2-0 at Liverpool at home, 3 against Brighton, 2 against Man City, another 3 against Liverpool. Southampton scored against us in our 3-1 win. We were unlucky, actually, to concede at Arsenal. The only goal, which was obviously that very dodgy and very long VAR decision. 2 against Wolves, 2 against Tottenham, 2 against Chelsea, 2 against Newcastle, and another one here tonight. Gnome, it looks from that it's pretty much nailed on that we will concede at some point, even though it's, I say only Norwich. They are still a Premier League team, and they've only earned 10 points fewer than we have so far this season. So the onus is going to be, as Pinky says, on West Ham to attack. The question is, can David Moyes send out a team to attack?
What I would do is my team talk for Saturday. It's lunchtime, isn't it? Is forget
Yes,
Burnley. Forget Burnley. We know we didn't do what we ought to have done against Burnley. Think about the Newcastle game. Think about what we did against Chelsea. Let's play football. With the best will in the world, Norwich are in no way, shape, or form as organised or as good defensively as Burnley were tonight. So, there's the league table. Look at Norwich. Show them some videos of Norwich. Obviously, since the restart, you see pretty much every game. And, they've looked, they play a little bit of football and all that. But, much as we've just been saying about us, you look at them, no matter how well they're playing at any particular stage, you're turning around and you're saying, give it a minute, they'll be letting one in. And, let's go and do to them what we did to Newcastle, apart from the conceding a goal 2 seconds after we scored one bit. Let's really sort of try and rub this out of it. I mean, we're stupid, and we've had stick from the club over perhaps what they consider to be negative coverage and all that. And shocking. I think we've given Moyes all due credit when for when things have gone right over the last couple of games. We've said we don't think he's the right. In my case, I don't think he's the right guy for us. But credit's where it's due. He's made changes when they've needed to be done over the last couple of games. Yep. Not today. I mean, even if he'd been able to bring a Yeti on right at the time when he was getting ready to bring on, we'll wait another 5 minutes for the ball to go out. Was he really expecting that to make much of a difference with 7 minutes plus stoppage there? As Peaky was saying, we all knew what Burnley were going to be like. To nick a line out of the young ones, there were tribes as yet undiscovered in the heart of the Peruvian jungle knew what Burnley would be like. So, if we're giving him credit when it was due, he's also got to take the brickbats on
Absolutely.
This one. And there was, and I think basically BT went off air before they'd had a chance to talk to Moyes. So I haven't actually seen what he said. I've changed over to Sky Sports just to see if they've got anything on it. But
we're still waiting for that to come in. There's still nothing official from Moyes yet. So we're just waiting for that.
But if he, you said, oh well, how about we've had so many shots on target, and we had a lot of shots on target and a lot of shots off target, but they were all sort of desperate, sort of stuff that were never really going to. It might have been on target, but you can have all sorts of shot on target. If there's 5 players between you and the goal, and they're on target, then it's still you're still hitting the ball into players, not into the net. And if he's going to turn around, I mean, I'm hoping he doesn't. I'm hoping he's honest enough to say, we were suckered into it. We did wrong there. But if he turns around and starts saying, well, we sort of bossed that and we should have really had loads and loads of goals, we're getting back to the bad old times of Allardyce when, I'd sit there and watch 90 minutes of some of the most dire football I'd ever seen, and then go into the press room and he'd come down having spent 15 minutes on his laptop with a load of statistics designed to tell me I'd just been watching Brazil versus Italy in the 1970 World Cup final. I'm not stupid. I know when I've seen a bad game. I know when I've seen a team play badly, and I've seen that tonight. So I hope he's honest enough to put his hands up and say that. But if he does start quoting statistics at me, I'll be more than cheesed off.
Okay, thank you for that. Pinky, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, 3 gilt-edged chances in the first half. In fairness, we didn't take them.
Mm-hmm.
In fairness, a fullback absolutely falling asleep, can the manager legislate for that? So the manager can point to those incidents and say, on such things, results actually hinge. But what he can't deny is the repeated same tactic being deployed throughout the game when it clearly wasn't going to work. And either he hasn't got an idea of a plan B, or he doesn't feel he has the players to deliver a plan B. So again, at what point do we turn to the chairman and say, this is the natural, accumulation of a decade of an incoherent transfer policy? Haller got on the pitch tonight for half an hour. So here we are in a relegation scrap, and our record signing finally turns up in a game against Burnley. And I still am not convinced on this injury issue that he's had. So we can point some fingers at the manager, but I think we also need to point fingers a bit higher than the manager. And if David Sullivan is being honest with himself, he needs to look in the mirror and say, have I really created the right environment at West Ham United Football Club for the team to thrive rather than just survive? And the answer is no.
Yes, it's whichever way you look at it, ultimately it always comes back to the boardroom and what's done at the start of the year, how much the manager is given to spend to boost the squad. And of course, that's the thing with Moyes. He's the two players he's brought in, of course, have probably been our two most effective players since the restart in Jared Bowen and Thomas Souček. So you have to give Moyes credit there. But yes, I mean, going back to a point Gnome made, and this is something I think I've always stressed about, especially about, without going into, going off on a tangent, but about Knees Up Mother Brown, is that we always do give credit where it's due, and we always feel that our criticism is relevant and not just for the sake of being critical. We do give a fairly even and accurate and fair assessment, or at least that's the way we've always tried to look at it anyway. Sometimes it's going to be negative, sometimes it's going to be positive. Unfortunately, in the last 3 or 4 years, it's been largely negative, and that's just the way the cookies crumbled, unfortunately. But obviously, people at the club don't particularly like that, and that's led us to the situation we are. But you're absolutely right, Noam. I think we gave Moyes great credit for the performances in the last 2 weeks, especially against Chelsea. So it's only right that we offer criticism where we feel it's due. Just coming back quickly to our opponents on Saturday, it is of course a midday kickoff, a nice early one, chaps. So we can have it all out of the way by the afternoon to do whatever it is we need to do. But I'm just looking at their form. They, of course, have been conceding goals left, right, and centre, but they do have a couple of clean sheets themselves this year. They kept a clean sheet at Newcastle, actually, which is a really decent result for them. They drew 0-0 up there on the 1st of February. And then they also strangely beat Leicester 1-0 at home later that month. So a bit of a purple patch for Norwich, perhaps. They only went down 1-0 at home to Liverpool also in that month. So it's a pretty decent month for them. But of course, since then, they've fallen apart. But they haven't conceded too many goals. One against Tottenham, one against Sheffield United, one against Everton, one against Brighton. They did ship 4 against Arsenal and 3 against Southampton. And of course, the games they needed to win recently, they've fallen apart, and they lost 1-0 at home to Brighton and were beaten 2-1 at Watford. So those really important games, against the teams in and around them, they've not been able to produce. Of course, so we have to hope that that continues this weekend. Of course, we shall see. Midday, hopefully you will all be joining us again for Eyes Up Mother Brown on Saturday lunchtime. We will all be here once again. I'm going to actually ask you, gents, we'll do this before we go. I'm going to ask you for your predictions for that game, because we won't have another mod pod between now and then. So we'll try and get those before we go. Just dumping quickly before we come back to the game into the chat. Zipser, we've had this question before, actually, about who would you replace Moyes with. I think if you go back to one of the podcasts from a couple of weeks ago, we all discussed this, and it's difficult to find it. It's not a question really of who we want. It's who's feasible given coming back to what Pinky says about the available resources, about the sort of manager that Sullivan would, bring into the club and who he would offer the finances to. So that really takes a large bearing. It's something we've answered anyway. Bill Clark says, Dyche is class, Moyes is crap, second class, like the whole rotten club. Bill, I think we all feel you tonight, my friend, after what we've seen. Chris Dolby says, Moyes played the front three out of position just to fit Yarmolenko in. Madness. Remember, Antonio is a winger. Bear asks, can we persist with Fredericks? He's scared to death of the ball and will gladly play a suicide ball into a teammate to get rid of it. And he also adds, we just got completely schooled. Lowell says, Antonio ran himself into the ground again. Where Lewis, talking about our opponents this weekend, says, well done to Norwich on their winner. Pucky hasn't scored for months either. Why did fans think we would today? I don't know if he's posting from the future there, perhaps, but let's hopefully not. Let's go back to the 57th minute of this afternoon's game, Rio. And there was an incident where if the referee had seen it differently, it may perhaps have changed the course of the game. Burnley were already 1-0 up, of course, but there was a challenge from Tarkowski just before the hour mark that was resulted in a caution for the player. But I think most of us here felt it was a red card. Could have been a totally different game if that had been given, possibly.
To be honest, I don't think would have altered much because of our predictable pattern of play. I mean, it was a vicious tackle, worthy of a red card. Quite how it's not been deemed that by the officials is a different matter, which obviously Gnome is the expert on.
Yep.
But I don't really think it would have altered much because we just didn't have the intelligence to train another way, and they would still lapse it up.
Yes, it's a very good point, actually. I mean, it's one thing West Ham have struggled against in the past. This play, I mean, especially we'll all remember under Sam Allardyce. I think it was Sam who said famously once that it's more difficult to play against 10 men than 11. But that aside, Briz.
Well, it's the way Allardyce set us up.
Well, yes, that's true. Briz, you were one of those. You felt it was a red card, yes?
All day long. And if we're not going to use VAR for that sort of incident, what's the point? You know, that's a game-changing incident. And the player could have easily gone off the pitch. We could have been at a disadvantage. The laws of the game are quite clear. The VAR is there to challenge those and upgrade those cards if it deems necessary. We didn't even go and look at it. There was no look at it tonight. We're more concerned about getting our geometry kits out, to coin a Pinky phrase, and check whether or not someone's toenail is offside. That for me is a pure reason to go back to VAR, get the decision right, and make sure the game's fair. And, you know, for me, it says everything about the game at the moment. It's loaded towards the top sides.
DL, red all day long for you, that one? Tarkowski?
Yeah, I was one that first called it as an immediate red during play. It was just a disgraceful challenge. Like everybody else, I've got no idea why that didn't go to VAR. Would we have got anything out of it? No, I agree with Rio. At the end of the day, they would have just shut up shop even more, and we would have been even more frustrated. In a way, I'm glad he weren't sent off, because at least losing 1-0 to 11 men is a bit better than losing 1-0 to 10, isn't it, really? So, no, thankfully Bowen's all right. But I want to touch, speaking of Bowen, if I may, I want to touch on him a bit.
Absolutely.
What a signing. Actually, what a signing. He's done really well to come straight up from the Championship. Took a while to get into the team, didn't he? And then when he came in, he's got a couple of goals. He's done. Then we had the break, and he's doing assists, and he's just quietly picked up from where he's left off. And I know I'm digressing a bit, so bear with me. But then Souček as well. Again, what a signing that he's been. Absolutely superb. And this is where now I'm going to try and cut David Moyes a little bit of slack, because his two signings have been brilliant. And you've got to remember, as was touched on the Mod Pod the other night, the rest of that team are not his players. They're players who have all been awarded huge, bloody great big long contracts. They're players in, as who was it that said? Was it, you know, that we've got we've in our squad, although he's out on loan at the moment, we've still got players from Avon Grant's era all the way through.
Pinky, to be fair.
Was that Pinky? Was it?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to cut Moyes a little bit of slack and see what happens in the transfer window. Whether he's proven a point by not bringing these players on, probably isn't the best way to go about it when we are in a relegation battle, because there are players on that bench. Again, as I keep flogging this horse, he could have brought on today. He could have brought on to try and change the game. That's what I want to see from a West Ham manager, is to try and change the game. And he didn't try. And that to me is unforgivable. At least even with Allardyce, he'd make defensive subs, but at least he tried to change the game. Same with Bilic. He did. Sometimes he went a bit too gung-ho, same as Pellegrini. He sometimes went a bit too gung-ho with his substitutions. But at least they tried. At least they kind of had a plan. You know what I mean? But Moyes, with his subs, brings on Allaire. He'll kind of get there, try and get a goal. But again, if I repeat himself, then what? Then absolutely what? So if he is trying to prove a point, and we end up getting relegated because of it, then that would be absolutely unforgivable. Use the players you got. They're getting paid a handsome wage. Now, leaving them on the bench, they might as well just be on furlough rather than sitting on the bench, might they? Use them. If I would have seen us go 2-0 down tonight, if he'd made the sub, I would have probably preferred that, because he'd given it a go, trying to change something. But this 1-0 and 2 subs, one of them on the 87th minute, no, unforgivable.
Okay, thank you, DL. Pinky, DL, very scathing about Moyes and his use of substitutions, or not, as the case may be. I think he's, it's a strange one, isn't it? He's able to make 5 substitutes. We do know that he's not particularly keen. Some of the players he's got, and obviously worried about the quality available to him. But it does seem a little bit strange that he's only using 2 subs or 3 subs per game, and even those games where he's used 3, they've only been who was it who came on in Balbuena, I think, against Chelsea, was it not, who came in the closing seconds of the game? So for using players that are likely to change the game, he's sticking to 1 or 2 every game. I mean, do you find that a little bit perplexing? Should he have done a bit more, a bit sooner tonight?
It's difficult, because we're looking at the 90 minutes tonight, and we're saying we need a result tonight, and that's our horizon, is the game tonight. That's all we're interested in.
Yeah.
Let's take a player like Felipe Anderson, who clearly hasn't impressed Moyes all that much.
Mm-hmm.
By leaving him out of the matchday squad, he's basically saying to Anderson's agent, get yourself a new club, because do you know what? I'm not going to pick you here. Yeah. So we're at that stage of the season where the manager, as well as trying to get results, is looking ahead to next season. And what he's trying to do is say, there isn't going to be a lot of money unless I trade some players. So I'm going to need to upset a few people here and say, do you know what? You're not in the matchday squad, even though you're a potential match changer.
Yeah.
Albeit we've not seen too much of it for a while. Yeah. The manager excludes him because he needs to give that player the message, which is sling your hook, son. Because if I can get, let's say Anderson, we might get 10 or 12 million for him in the summer, something like that. That could actually allow the manager to go and sign a player who he thinks could make a difference. And we've seen, in fairness to Moyes, and DL referred to it, Bowen and Souček have both done very well. So where he's had money to spend this time around, he appears to have spent it well. My bigger gripe about where we are, this squad has been constructed by 5 different managers. Okay, so we're changing managers so often that a number of them are getting contracts that go over the duration of several managers. That cannot be right. It cannot be right in terms of a coherent strategy. We keep signing, aging players, and you talk me through the logic of why Jack Wilshere was a good sign. Anyone, and yet the previous manager had him signed on his watch. So for me, am I thrilled with Moyes at the moment? No, I'm not. Would I change him? No, I wouldn't. Because at some point we've got to say we're going to have the same guy there for 4 or 5 seasons, let him build a team that is his team, and judge him on that team. Because we saw an alternative that's being discussed by West Ham United supporters tonight.
Yeah,
that's the Sean Dyche side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we can debate what is good football. Good football is winning football, and ultimately Burnley are going up the motorway and they've won. Would West Ham United supporters watch that every week? Not a chance. The Carpenters wouldn't empty out at all. The boys would be in there before kick-off, during the game, and after the game. The pubs would be rammed because no one is ever going to turn up to watch that week in, week out. And we know it. So stick with the guy we've got, but we've got to accept he's got a tough job in the sense of we don't have the money. He's got to trade some players. And sometimes that means he can't pick them on a given night. And tonight, I think Anderson is the classic. He's a player who you'd think would have been able to unlock Burnley, do something a bit different. But the manager has to give him the signal, sling your hook, son, because you've had enough chances. And that's the part of the manager's job that we tend not to think about in the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I've got an alternative take on that, Pinky.
Okay.
Yeah, just on the Anderson situation. Firstly, as been sort of messaged about here that he is supposed to have he was in the squad for Chelsea originally and tweaked a hamstring in the one that, and it's been said he's been left out because his hamstring it's a 10 to 14 days job. Now, my view on that is that I got the impression that Anderson wants out anyway. It's not a case of Moyes thinking, sod you, mate, I'm not picking you, get yourself a new team. I think it's more a case of, I don't really want to play for this lot anymore. I'm not interested. He's not been good, and he's not shown any sort of interest on the pitch. And I reckon that this is one of those sort of convenient hamstring strains that you see when players don't want to sort of risk injury before the end of the season. I can remember famously Barami when we had him, and all through, I think the transfer window sort of closed at the end of whatever month it was, and he missed. He wasn't available for the first 3 or 4 games of the season with an unspecified groin strain or something like that. Second, the window shut, and he couldn't go anywhere. Suddenly he was fit again and played. And then again, when it got to December, just before Christmas, he started feeling the back of his leg and didn't play for a few games. And lo and behold, 2 weeks into January, he was off somewhere. I can't remember where he went. And I've got a funny feeling it's more a case of Anderson not wanting to stick around than Moyes wanting him out.
Okay, but it highlights the same issue.
Yeah. I'm saying it's a slightly different take, an alternative take on the reason for him not being in the squad.
Yeah.
I think if he were in inverted commas fit and wasn't, I mean, I'm sure he has got some sort of injury. How serious it is, I don't know. But if he were to say I'm available for selection and the physio guys concur, then I think he would be in the squad.
Okay. Can I just pose a question to the panel, if I may?
Go for it, Pinky.
Burnley squad against our squad, head to head. How many of their players would we want in our squad? And how much? You look at the squads on paper, and you look at it and say, right, how many of their players would we really want at West Ham United?
Okay, I'll answer that first of all because it's nice and short. I don't know their team well enough to answer the question. I don't really follow football much outside of West Ham whatsoever. So on that point, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, Rio, what's your thoughts on that?
Looking at Burnley's squad, there's 3 or 4 players I'd take straight away, but Pink is completely right. I mean, you'd look at that team that Dyche has built, and individually you think, no, not for me. They just haven't got the same quality as we have. But they work better as a unit. They work for their manager. They seem to have a game plan which they know to stick to, and it's effective. I mean, look where they are in the league. They're 9th. I think they're 9th, aren't they? Something like that. But the team above them, team above them, the team below them, are our erstwhile friends from North London, who have been fueled by numerous years of Champions League money. And in Arsenal's in particular, almost 20 years. And look where it's got them. They're now on a par with Burnley, basically. Yeah. Burnley's team squad on paper is pretty poor, you know. But look where they are. Look what they've achieved.
Yeah.
He gets them players playing to the best of their ability. He's made Nick Pope and Tarkowski in England internationals, and they're 2 of the players I'd actually take, because we're crying out for really a commanding centre half, and we need another keeper who's obviously younger than Fabianski. Fabianski's been great for us, but is he 34 now?
35.
We need a younger model
35.
coming through. But no.
Okay.
He's done wonders up there.
I mean, I'd go along with Rio. If you're talking about individuals, they're the 2 that would stick out for me. Is the lad who probably shouldn't have played the full 90 minutes tonight, and obviously the goalkeeper who we spoke about during the game. We're just looking at the comments. Some of the guys in chat are saying Pope, Tarkowski, Westwood, Wood. I think Wood's getting on a little bit now, isn't he? Breeze, I'm going to come to you to answer Pinky's question. Just before I do that, here's a little stat for you. David Moyes has never beaten Sean Dyche as a manager. In 6 attempts, he's lost 4 and drawn 2. So perhaps it wasn't any surprise that we lost tonight. But yeah, Breeze, your thoughts on Pinky's question? Who would you take from the Burnley squad?
Yeah, I mean, exactly the same. I think that we need a younger goalkeeper and we need a commanding centre back. Jury's out on Diop for me. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's just absent at times in terms of defenders. So there's 2 for me. What I would take is, and I wouldn't take Sean Dyche, so that's out of the question, but what I would take is the organisation and the team spirit at the moment. That all those players played for each other. Dyche said I've just been having a quick look at Dyche's press interview, and what he said is the team defended from the front. And if there was ever a better description to sum up that game, that was pretty much it. I mean, Burnley defended from the front, they countered against us, they got a lucky goal, and they stayed solid as a unit. I've seen Moyes as well saying that it was a red card. VAR should have looked at it.
Yeah.
But he's come back and said, we had all these chances, and we've got to look at it and be optimistic about that. I'd much rather have the Sean Dyche view, where at least he's honest and said, look, we stuck 11 men behind the ball for 90 minutes, and we came away with 3 points. And I don't know, just disappointing evening all round.
Okay. Just looking at the chat, a couple more names suggested. Rodriguez, who scored the goal obviously tonight. Ben Mee, who was absent, is a big player for them. In fact, most of the Burnley squad has now been named in the chat by various individuals at one point. But I think it's a valid point Pinky makes, and I think the point there that individually you would probably say that West Ham had the better players. As a squad and as a team, there was little doubt today that Burnley were certainly better drilled and probably deserved it.
Would we want to watch it every week?
But would we? But that's the question, isn't it? Yes. But I just wonder with that, Pinky, do you not think that's a question of, Dyche just cutting his cloth accordingly and sort of saying, this is what I've got. These are the resources I have available. We're not going to be playing fantastic flowing football with what we as Rio rightly points out, they're splitting Tottenham and Arsenal at the moment. 2 clubs. One that's, as Rio said, has had Champions League money for 20 years, and another one that was in the Champions League final. Let's not forget last year. And Burnley are matching what they're doing. So, is he not just doing a really good job and doing what's necessary? I mean, it's not aesthetically pleasing, certainly, but is it just needs must?
The difficulty always in this, because there are certain types of manager of certain types of club who the argument is presented, you know, is limited funds, limited options. It won't be pretty. It will be effective. And do you want to watch your team in the Premier League or the Championship? Because if you want to watch from the Premier League, this is how we're going to play. It's then a massive leap of faith to go the full Allardyce, which is, you know, put me in charge of Real Madrid and I'll show you what I can do. Yeah, you know, because we're close to people making that argument for Dyche. Yeah, the brutal truth is, in an industry that is results driven, he has won just 30% of his games as a Premier League manager. Okay, and they're not playing Liverpool and Man City every week.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Norwich's, they're playing Aston Villa's, they're playing West Ham United's. So this idea that little old Burnley, who also get £120 million a year handed to them by Sky TV, the same as West Ham United get, the idea that they are on their uppers and, you know, oh, we're plucky little chaps and lucky to be in here, they get handed a lot of money as well. And the reality is, Sean Dyche has put an effective team together at grinding out results. They are exceptionally well drilled, but actually, do you know what? It's the entertainment industry. And are you entertained watching that? Not especially. And that's going to be the problem he will have for his whole career. He could probably go to a slightly better club than Burnley, and, you know, without being rude about Burnley. But his options, he's never going to get offered the Liverpool job. He's never going to get offered the Manchester United job. He's never going to see the bit. And eventually, and the reason why he gets linked to West Ham United is, well, we're probably the biggest club he could go to that aren't one of the clubs he's never going to go to. Yeah. But do you know what? If that was his interview tonight, he may have actually answered all the questions, but there was...
It's a very valid point, I think, you make about entertaining football. But of course, then you would argue that I can think of one season in the last 10. Actually, no, that's not true. I can think of 2 seasons in the last 10 that I would describe as being entertaining from the perspective of a West Ham United supporter. The first being the most obvious, I think, the final season at the Bowling Ground with Dimitri Payet. But, you know, I would travel anywhere in the world if I had the finances to watch someone like that play football, because, you know, he alone was worth, it's the old thing about being worth the entrance fee. He was just a joy to watch, and, you know, he was exciting, and you felt excited before a game knowing that you were going to see him and, you know, watching what he could do. The other season I would mention, funnily enough, would be the Championship season, which we came up because I had a fabulous time that season when we were winning. I think we won 17 away games or something, didn't we, that season, which was a club record. But, you know, who wants to be playing in the Championship? So it's a really valid point I think you make, but it's very difficult because the way we all know the way football is so unbalanced these days. There are only a handful of teams who can afford to play in that sort of style, financially, as you know, obviously being the main consideration. But it's a tough one, and the rest of us just really have to pick at the scraps, I think, and, you know, just try and keep up. But it's an interesting debate anyway, and it's one we have year in, year out and consistently on the forum. About, you know, what is the place of, really, I guess, of everybody else outside the top 6? Are we there just to make up the numbers? And if so, you know, the question is, why do we keep going back year in, year out? But anyway, I'm beginning to ramble a bit. But really, I think in terms of entertainment value, it's very difficult. It's a case now where you can think of the odd game, isn't it? You look back at a couple of wins against Spurs and some of those big derby wins. But as a season, you know, even going back 20 years, I mean, I think perhaps even in Harry Redknapp's time, you'd probably say we had some really good seasons, but there's not really been a single season where you could say, you know, that was fantastic. Pardew, perhaps, would that be? No, would you say that's fair? Perhaps Pardew, the one before that, you know, the first season back in the Premier League, 05-06, where we finished 9th, I think it was.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there. There was good stuff.
I mean, can you think of any more since then?
Not really. It's either been famine or feast, doesn't it, really? As I say, We've got him. We've got Moyes. Yeah, we're kind of lumbered, really. We need, if we're going to make the change, we're going to make a change to somebody and stick with it with a plan. And as I say, Moyes has apparently come up with this, how I want the club to be run. I want a plan. I want it based on the RB Leipzig model of the sort of players that we sign. If that's the case, then at least it is a plan, and which is something we're completely bereft of at the moment. I don't know. It's as I say, it's just this thoroughly disappointing evening, and maybe not the right time to be sort of talking about the long-term stuff. And we need to be looking at what do we need to do over the next. How many goes? Is it 5 we got left?
4 now, isn't it? Are we on 4?
4 is it?
4 to go. Yeah, of course. We have it's Norwich, Watford, Manchester United, and Villa. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and yeah, I mean, I think we'll beat Norwich if we're getting back onto the prediction that you mentioned about an hour ago. If you got your pen and paper there, stick me down for a 3-2 win.
Right, I'll tell you what. While we're on the subject, and while you've picked that up, we'll do that. So, Gnome, you're going to go for a 3-2 win. Briz, what do you see this Saturday? How do you see it going?
1-1.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
1-1.
1-1. Thank you. DL, what do you reckon about Saturday?
I'm going to go same as Briz. 1-1 score draw. Before I go, just very quickly about the entertaining seasons.
Yes.
I'm going to tuck in the half a season, Allardyce's last season when we were riding third in the league at Christmas, and then it all went wrong after Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean we were flying, weren't we? Up until Christmas. I mean, yeah, we were third pretty much, weren't we, for the entire period? Then, yeah, that's a very good point. Rio, Saturday, how do you see it going, buddy?
We haven't won in the league at Carrow Road since 1973.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Obviously won in the FA Cup there in 2006, but yeah, the league thing is it's a long time. And I know Norwich ain't having a great season, but they've got some decent players there who can cause us some few problems. So I'm going 2-2.
It looks like we're all following a similar theme here. Pinky, how do you see it going on Saturday at Carrow Road? No win since 1973 in the league, says Rio. Can we do it this time?
No, we're not. We're going to go down to a 2-1 defeat.
Ooh.
Okay. So we have 1 defeat, 2 draws. Sorry, 3 draws. 1 win, 1 defeat, 3 draws. I'm going to be a bit positive this week. I think we're going to win it. I think there'll be lots of goals because neither team can defend particularly well. So I think I'm actually going to go with Gnome. I'm going to go with a 3-2 win. I think we'll sneak that one and probably lose the next 3 games and just stay up by a goal difference or something ridiculous like that. So, yes, I think we're going to end tonight's show. We're going to call it a day there because I'm sure you guys are all desperate to get off and have something to eat, given that we've been on here since before 6 o'clock. So I'll just dip into the forum, the match thread, before we do go, just to get a quick roundup. Celador says, we played well tonight for 40 or so minutes. We're terrible for 20. And then for the last 25 or so, we had so many tired legs, we couldn't do anything. Now, that was an interesting point, coming back to what you said right at the top, Pinky, about the 2 teams being the oldest squads in the league. Perhaps you're absolutely right, and Celador is right too, and that showed as far as West Ham were concerned. We just didn't have anything left in the tank to offer for the last 20 minutes by lumping the ball forward and hoping. Just having a little bit of a look up the page. Crouch End talking about a chance. What's this? Okay, that's just talking about a chance that Haller laid off, and he wasn't particularly impressed with his efforts. GSB. Like New York, so good they named him twice. Football is about finding a way to win with the players available to you. I'm sure Burnley fans will not moan about style if they get European football again. Of course, we're forgetting that, aren't we? Dyche has already taken them into Europe, which, you know, again, is something else in his favour, I guess. Pop Robson, looking ahead to this weekend, sees a Pookie hat-trick for Norwich and says that's just the West Ham way. Wouldn't it?
Shut up, Pop. Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be? So that's about it for tonight anyway. Thank you to the team here for joining us again. It's been an absolutely desperately miserable night if you're a West Ham fan, but by God, we're used to those, aren't we? If anything, the last week was a deviation from the norm with the 4 points giving us hope, but ultimately they've let us down once again. It's finished West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. We are right back in a relegation fight. We thought if we won tonight, we might be able to enjoy the next 3 or 4 games. It's not going to happen at West Ham. We've all been here too long. We're all too long in the tooth to know that that could possibly happen. We shall be back with you on Saturday for the next Eyes Up Mother Brown. There will be no mod pod until then. I guess if all goes well, we'll be back on Sunday night to chew over the bones of Norwich on Saturday. It leaves me just to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in and joined us tonight, both in the YouTube. YouTube. Is it 1996 all over again? And on YouTube, thank you to everyone for joining us with the match chat and letting us know what you thought as the game was going on. Please subscribe if you haven't done so to know when we're on live again in future. And I would just like to end by thanking my panel for all their wise comments and sage words throughout the game. Gnome, thank you for joining us, buddy.
You're welcome, mate.
Rio, great once again. Thanks for coming on.
No problem, mate. Thank you.
DL, you are on your own now. You were 2 at the start, but I guess even poor Isaac has seen enough and gone and taken himself to bed.
Yeah, he shot himself.
Thanks, buddy. Breeze, glad to see you got a stream eventually. Thanks for all your input.
Yeah, no worries. Good evening.
Cheers, buddy. And Pinky, finally, last but very much not least, thank you for evading those security guards and getting in just after the start of the game for to provide all your words of advice. That is it. We will be back Saturday lunchtime. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff. Don't be late. We'll see you then. West Ham versus Norwich. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on.